Hey, everybody. Okay, so first things first. A few announcements. One, something that somebody actually reminded me to do the other day, which was, or actually just today, Robbie um, basically reminded me that it's to tell you guys that it's been 2 years since we started this podcast. Officially, with the first episode being um, having aired in October 8th of 2017. So yeah, we're 2 years old. I just put like 1031 because it's easy to remember. You know, Halloween. Um, yeah. So yeah, and the only other thing I want to mention is that this episode is brought to you by our coffee subscribers, people who were just kind enough to actually give us a coffee. Um, Yeah. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, we started doing a subscription kind of based service to kind of help support the podcast. It costs a bunch of money to get this automation running, to get a whole bunch of things started. Hosting, uh, like hosting automation, social media outreach, some of the tools that we use to reach out to you guys. And just it's a lot of it's time, production value, cost of software, advertising, giveaways. A lot of this is just something I love doing. I love making people happy. I love, you know, doing fun things that kind of engender really good feelings among everybody. So, yeah, so I know that costs money, and if there's any hope for me to kind of put even more into the brand, let's say, and I hate using that word, but that's literally what I want this to be more than just a podcast. I kind of want this to be something that that's a little bit more like as we go would be a little bit more participatory. So yeah, thanks, Darren. Um, yeah, and so I kind of want this to be something more. I kind of want it to be like news based. I want it to be, I want it to be more than just what it is. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's if you go to the website squawkingdead.com, there's this nice little cute orange button under the main menu that just says support the podcast, and you literally are buying me a coffee. Actually, it's probably cheaper than most coffees you'll ever buy, let's say at a Starbucks or anything like that. It's just $3 a month. You could even do like a one-off $3, and you'll have access to content for the next 30 days. So I think that system works out. What we did last night was we gave everybody a link to the Zoom meeting that we use to connect with each other, because all of the hosts are in different states. They might as well be in different countries. And hey, Zahara, what's up? How are you? Yeah, so all of our hosts are in different states, and so that's how we connect. And so we give you the link that we use to connect, and there's a little trickery that we have to do. Hey, Eric, what's up? And your wife's on the Instagram stream, so illustrates how you guys work perfectly. Anyway, if you want to skip that little button at squawkingdead.com, head to ko-fi.com/squawkingdead, one word. And you'll notice, and this is why I wanted to do a little live stream before I started the episode, you'll notice during the stream that if you actually throw us a coffee or you subscribe to a monthly subscription, during the stream, you'll see a little thing pop up that shows that you've done that. And I think that's really cool. I can't wait to do more things like that during the stream. Yeah, the more we throw into this podcast, the better it's going to be for all of us, including me, especially me, because today, man, I was tested. I failed, and at least in terms of my own personal job. I just could not keep my mind off of you guys delivering you this podcast today. And it was really difficult to concentrate at work, I will admit. And not to mention that I'm pretty overwhelmed as it is. So, so without further ado, again, if you do subscribe during the stream, you will see, I mean, not now, once the episode starts, which is in the next scene, if you do subscribe during the stream, you will see your name pop up, and that will be there forever on YouTube, on Facebook, well, forever, as long as they don't kick us off. On Facebook, YouTube, Twitch goes away after 30 days. Mixer, I think that does 2 weeks. So yeah, so at least YouTube and Facebook. So if you do give us your humble support, I really appreciate the first 3 subscribers: Whispers UK, Kate's, Negan Judith cosplay, and oh man, I'm fumbling on the last one, but I remember the email was very silly and it made me laugh when we finally got it. But I do appreciate your support, and I will be naming you as the first 3 subscribers in a social media post tomorrow, and which is obviously #AmpliFriday. And so I will also, like, at the stroke of midnight, I will be sending out a little thing in the stories letting you have a voice on Friday. Basically, AmpliFriday is all about giving you a voice to tell the world what you want to say, anything. It doesn't have to be TWD related. Just giving you the floor so I can just deliberately retweet or restory you. So, yeah, in the Twitter, I'll leave a post, and you just reply to that post, and I'll just retweet it with the #AmpliFriday. On Instagram, on Facebook, just put in whatever you want, and I'll basically just restory your. Well, it's gonna come as a question, so I'll just redo your story, and I'm just gonna put a background image and let you say what you gotta say. So without further ado, my cousin Dave. Yes, I'm about to spoil The Walking Dead if you are not caught up. So if you are not caught up, you're probably best not to watch this. On to the show, everybody. Yes, thank you very much, all of you, and we'll see you soon. Ba-doo. We are Squawking Dead, and I love how I can start the show off on a dime on a pre-recorded session. So, welcome to Squawking Dead. I'm your host, David Cameo, and I am joined by CosmoMom09. She sounds like a superhero, and that's because she is Rachael Burt.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, avast you snidely whiplash. I don't know. It's that kind of night.
Here to save the day.
Here I come to save the day. We're here to talk about the episode called Silence the Whisperers. As opposed to what people are not... I've seen this like everywhere. People are mixing up Silence the Whisperers with Silence the Whispers, which is what's on the graffiti. Which what the graffiti is on the walls of Alexandria. So let's just get that straight. Let's get it straightened out. There's one and then there's the other. One has actually a double entendre meaning. The other is pretty specific. One of the coolest things about this episode is how it kind of... I don't know if I've seen this in any of the episodes of The Walking Dead, or even Fear the Walking Dead necessarily, like scores aside, where you'll hear like repeating theme music. That happens a lot in The Walking Dead, but I never had a produced artist come in at the beginning of the episode and then kind of like outro the rest of the episode. And I thought that was really cool with this episode. And when you get into like trying to figure out like what the significance of this song is, it's the song by Gordy.
Her name's actually Sophie Payton, but she goes by Gordy.
Oh, okay.
She's Australian.
Yeah, I looked that up. You looked it up too, then, didn't you?
I have a thing about music on this show. Yeah, when there's a significant song, I'll do as much deep dive as I can, because it always has relevance to what's happening and what's going on, and I love that they can find these songs that just really, kind of move the story along without dialogue, and it says so much when you know the meaning of the songs too. So
Yeah, did you find the same...
They do their homework.
Yeah, that's what I like about you. So, you do research like me. Resting on your laurels, like, I'll get notes tomorrow. Let's do the show without notes. No, I still value that, though. I actually do value that, like, sometimes a host can just come on without notes and just fire off the top of the dome. You know what it is? It's just being like... I'm, like, literally, like... Carol and I discussed this last night, like really late. We were personally DMing each other, and I'm like watching. I'm like trying to watch Talking Dead and trying to catch up finally, because I think NYCC threw me off, WSC threw me off, all of that, and just trying to catch up has been maddening.
And I was like, I'm always 2 episodes behind. And last night I was 2.5 episodes behind because I kept falling asleep.
Oh no.
And you're right, I don't get sleep. But
Right.
I still don't have time to catch up. So like Carol and I were DMing each other on Slack, and I was just kind of like, hey, I just realized something very important. Angela Kang is like what would happen if you and me had a baby. And like clearly she gets her looks from you. But and I'm like,
Angela Kang is your and Carol's baby?
yeah, basically. Like our greatest creation. Well, I say that because it's like all the looks and all like the like the geekiness of Carol, and then
Oh my
like
gosh.
all the like studiousness and deep thinking, you know, like the deep thoughts and psychological harm she inflicts on all of us every week. That's me. I'm all the bad things.
Aw.
But yeah, so back to this. Did you read? So I'm gonna take a guess because it's like one of the first few hits that I got when I was looking up the song. But did you get your notes from like the AtwoodMagazine.com article on this? Because it really went into it.
I'm not even sure. I'm not gonna lie. You know what I did? I asked my phone. I said, "Google, what song is this?"
Shoot, oh yeah, my phone is turned off.
And then Google told me. So whatever website came up first, and they had a little snippet about her, and then showed some of the lyrics and what she says the song is. When people listen to music, they take away whatever they want from it, whatever they connect to it. But this was her explanation for the song.
Oh, so you got that, because I got the writer's explanation, and it takes a little combination of from what Gordy says and like what she kind of took it as well. Like from her point of view. I think it was a her, yeah. But what did you find out that it meant also?
It was basically a song describing mostly like a platonic relationships between people, and how time and distance play a part in that. But eventually that love, that bond is always there, which is perfect for everything we were seeing. At least in the beginning of the episode, everything that we were seeing happening. I mean, we were seeing all of these platonic relationships and how they're affecting people. So it was a perfect song to be playing.
Right. I mean, to take that even further, because I think what's really good about this song is that how it illustrates like how really close, like you said, platonic, right? Specifically, I think it
was a recurring topic. Yeah, it was that kind of relationship.
Well, because like if you didn't know that, or if you didn't read that from the song, you would think, oh, it's like another love song. Yeah, like they tried. Like heaven, I know that we tried. It was like, so that's why she has to keep saying that. But like really, like taking that and putting that to the side, that's a platonic relationship. The other deeper theme to the song, it seems, is that like, yes, we will always be friends. We will always have what we had. But there's a big but, is that there are some, like a lot of friendships will grow apart naturally, and as hard as you might try to hold them together, they will grow apart. Not be broken or not be. No. It just happens, and it's like
just physically apart.
Yeah, physically apart, but also like even mentally, like as you grow as a parent and as a wife, and as a homemaker, aka business. Like, and also being a business owner, you, Rachel, like, sometimes it's just as you get older, you have less bandwidth because you're dedicating more bandwidth in your brain to, like, your personal endeavors, and sometimes, like, you just have to trust that, like, a bond is there, even though you're not physically there, or you're there to hang out, and anybody who tries to deny this or fight it is just fighting time. They're just trying to hold on to something that is not something they can hold on to in a natural process. And that's a reality. Like I'm 40. I get it. I used to not get it. And I used to have friends who just didn't get it, but I was ahead of the curve, maybe because I turned into an asshole a lot sooner. But still. But no, I see that. Like you see the friend who is desperately trying to like contact everybody to hang out. You know that friend. You know, we're in our 30s, we're almost, you know, some of us are in our 40s. Like, you know that friend. And eventually that friend tries less and less because they're starting to finally get it. And it's nothing against them. The only thing you'd have against them is if you kept trying and trying, fighting this feeling that naturally happens as we get older.
Yeah.
You know? That's when you start going, this guy's still going on? What the? He's still in this Facebook group that we all, like, muted? Like, I don't know, anyway.
Still, like, talking to himself. Yeah. No, I totally get it. For me, I was the first person out of, like, my friends to have a kid, you know, and so that kind of cut me right out. You know, they were all still doing stuff, but slowly but surely, every time somebody else would have a kid, they would join the grown-up group, and they would get it. They would understand, like, and that's not always the case. Like, obviously, it's not always just about kids. I mean, it's, you know, career or time or, you know, maybe you move someplace. There's a lot of factors that can pull friendships apart. But what I took from it is, you know, it doesn't, all those things don't matter. When you have that kind of bond and relationship with somebody, it will withstand all of that time and that distance. Right. You know, and I mean, it's okay. I'm actually, and it is okay. It is okay. That's the point. I actually have a perfect example. One of my best friends is actually in town right now. I did see her earlier this year, but before that, it was probably a good 6 years before I'd seen her. She moved over to Oxford, and she's been over there for 7 or 8 years now.
In London?
And
or is it England?
Yeah. England. She's in England. And so I don't see her all the time. And yes, there's Facebook, but we don't really do that a whole lot either because, again, things just get in the way. Time, life happens. Yeah. But you know what? We're going to hang out this weekend, and it's going to be like no time has passed. Yes, you know, exactly. And that's the kind of friendships I like.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's what I like about the song is that it illustrates a couple things. Like, one is that we all have this growing pain. You know, like we all go through this part. You know, we dwell on why we're not as close as we were. You know, that whole thing. We all have it in varying degrees. And some of us get it faster than others. That's fine. And that's the whole point. That's fine. Right. But there's another kind of part to it that I kind of like, the song that I really like. And I like that we're focusing on the song because it kind of prepares us for the kind of mood that we're kind of entering into. Like, another set of imagery that she conjures up in the song is that it's a lot like when you go away, let's say, for school or to do something with your life, like to try something out, like an endeavor, and you have to leave. And it's like coming back home and not recognizing anything. That's like another one of the imageries that kind of, you know, that kind of gets conjured up in the song. And it's like there is something very unsettling about it. It's like, this is supposed to be home. But why isn't it? You know, and you can see a lot of that in Lydia.
That was exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, like let's say
be home, but why doesn't it feel like it?
Yeah, and let's say she even goes back to the Whisperers. Like, it's like, I am forever changed. You know, like
that's going to be different too.
Yeah, assuming.
Right. If she were to go back, no matter what, if she went back, it would be different. I mean, they all think Alpha killed her, so she showed up. I mean, shit's going to hit the fan.
Hi guys. Like, imagine Cassidy McClincy, not Lydia. Because Cassidy's a lot, and I love that she's a lot.
She comes in with her fuzzy bunny ears.
Yeah, and she goes like this. She does this thing. She does its head tilt and like, hi, like waves that energetic wave.
I can see it. Oh my gosh, I can see her doing it too.
And Alpha's like, you must be cold.
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah.
She looks like my daughter.
It would be right. Who are you? But it would be different. I mean, no matter what, if she were to go back after this time, it would feel different. Like, it should be home, but it's just not feeling right.
Not home anywhere. Like, you can make that same argument about Negan too, I suppose. You know, like
Negan.
Last season was kind of like an example of that. You know, like him going back to Sanctuary and be like, this isn't how I imagined this would be.
Right? That was sad. That was hard to watch.
Yeah, it was tough. Like, I mean, it was also a little like, what did you think was going to happen? Really?
Right.
You thought they were going to be around, welcome you in open arms? And
they're just going to open the door. Hey, he's back.
Yeah, I don't know, buddy.
Nah.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
You'd have had a tough ride. Have to dethrone whoever was in charge and expect people to follow you after that. And then what? So, and then you've changed. So, exactly. And that's the point. You've changed too. It's not just everybody else. It's you.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's why I keep going back to the song, because it's this hard. The song is a little. It is kind of a little hard to connect completely with the episode because there's a lot going on. There's so much going on because just like this song, which covers really basically a nice chunk, maybe a third or half of the episode, right? And then there's this whole other part, and this is a very unorthodox way of kind of breaking down this episode because we usually kind of go scene by scene and chronologically. I like that we're using this song to kind of try to find our way through this because the one thing that and this is me, like opening up to all of you, including you, Rachel, my biggest fear, and it's deep seated, and like in the age of the internet, this is like worse than ever. Because my biggest fear is mob mentality. It's mob mentality. There's something about like a hysteria or mob mentality that really, like, you watch a movie like The Mist, all iterations, and you see, man, I was terrified as a kid, like reading Lord of the Flies, and then watching the movie too, like watching people not being able to help themselves, like to be able to stop themselves, and that scares me so much. Like this is me being real right now.
Are you afraid you would fall victim to it? Like you would also fall into the hysteria, or you're afraid of what they would do to you?
More what they would do to you.
Okay.
But as I've gotten older, I've become more conscious of when it happens that I feel myself almost doing the same thing. And that also scares me now. But like in a good way. Like it signals to me, wait, are you doing this because you're kind of joining along the bandwagon? Are you getting swept away by this thing? And like, as I was about to go into Walker Stalker, like criticizing Walker, certain elements of Walker Stalker, anti-Walker Stalkerness. Yeah. Like I felt myself like, am I doing this? Like I could be doing this to kind of tell people, hey, listen, stop. Like, no matter who you are, it's not right to personally harass people to the point where they leave social media. It's not right. No. But there's that element that if I took that one step further, I could see myself going on this soapbox bandwagon and then getting everybody to join me. And like, wait, then what did I just do? I just created another, movement that would just decimate anybody at all costs. The whole point is to be kind. Just be kind to each other. Recognize that you don't have to destroy people in order to make your point. There are other ways to do it. And that's all I have to say about that. But that's the point. That's the thing.
It is. No, I totally get what you're saying. I do.
Yeah. So you see, it's like out-woking the woke. You know what I mean? Like, no, and then you're like, then now you're the woke. It's not...
Well, and the Walker Stalker thing's a perfect example too. I mean, you could say something simply sharing your opinion. I mean, maybe not even positive or negative. It might just be an opinion, but somebody else is going to read it, and then they're going to pile on it, and then somebody else is going to pile on it, and before you know it, this, very
well-intentioned,
general,
innocent,
exactly,
milk toast.
Just this honest opinion of a post has now turned into this crazy flood of negativity, and it's just it's scary how fast it can happen too, and it's always the negative, right? Like nobody jumps on and is like piling on the positiveness of anything. Like I don't know. I mean,
that would just make people more angry.
I know, right? I know. Like I try to see the good. I look for the silver lining in everything. That's where I'm at now.
The nuggets.
Look, bad shit happens all the time. I've just made peace with that. Like bad shit is going to happen. If you can either one, learn a lesson from it, or find something that maybe good came out of that. Like look for those things. And it's hard, man. It's hard, but
because we're geared towards negativity.
Right. But it's so much harder being angry all the time. So I try really, really hard to find silver linings wherever I can.
Yeah, and I attribute a lot of that behavior that you're talking about, silver linings and just mellowing out and just really kind of stepping back and going, yeah, this is too much energy for me. And it's not when you really think about it, it gets to the point where clearly you have an axe to grind, and you don't care who you hit it with, blunt or sharp.
Yeah,
it's like, you know what? I'm going to let you move on,
Yeah.
Move on. Like, clearly you have a target in mind, and I'm not going to be your collateral damage.
Yeah.
That, I think, is an age thing. Also, like, I think age plays into it, but I think also experience. But I think age is, like...
I think age is mostly, yeah.
Like, there's an apex, right? Like, it starts off slowly, but as you get older, the slope curves, like, rapidly upward. You know what I mean? Like, the last 5 years of my life have been... Yeah. I've gotten really mellow. I'm telling you right now, I used to be... I wouldn't say... Okay, I'm going to describe a Facebook friend you may have. Okay, ready? Ready?
Okay.
You'll know it when you hear it. All of you will know it when you hear it. The friend who posts a petition at least 3 times a week about something. They may or may not feel even strongly about that something, but they'll post that petition or like that GoFundMe or something, And again, it really does go back to bandwidth too, like what we're talking about the song. And then there's a whole other side of me that was really, really, really political. And like, look at how far I've come now. I'll shut that shit down when it comes to Squawking Dead. There is just no room for that.
I don't do politics unless it's to piss my grandma off, because then it's just fun.
Oh, you know what? That's your last test, by the way. That is your last test. And then once you pass that test, your life is so much better. I'm telling you. I used to fight because I'm like the resident liberal to all my conservative cousins and aunts and uncles. At being that guy in the lines that you're, yeah, I'm going to get all of you. I got all these facts. I've got all these facts to fight you with. And like the last few years, I've been like, okay, you can keep going. I'm just listening. I'm not there anymore. But okay, keep coming at me. Yeah. I'm just sitting there, just like eating my turkey and Thanksgiving. Like, I don't know why you're yelling at me. I'm not saying anything against you. So
can I get more mashed potatoes?
Yeah.
I just want more.
These
food.
Are delicious, Lena. These are delicious.
Oh my gosh, these rolls! Yeah,
you've outdone yourself with that stuffing, and like still like yelling, and it's like, don't you think? Like I haven't said a word to you.
Right, I know.
I'm actually agreeing with you.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely at the listening stage of my. I mean, there's just things, and you can almost tell. I never used to be this way, but you can tell how a conversation's going to go, like right in the beginning, right? Like know. Like as soon as you start a conversation and somebody's got that, you already know. Yeah, you already know. And so that's when you go, okay, just come on, just go ahead.
You know how I picture it on Twitter, by the way? I picture it this way. Do you remember in the Goonies, Mama Fratelli, as she's like walking up to get the kids? That's how I see it. And it helps,
Mama Fratelli's on Twitter.
It helps me so much to like image that, like just like to picture it in my mind, just to see him that way. Because then I'm like, oh my god, this is hilarious. And then you can play, or you can just sit back and go, yeah, but I'm just trying to get you to admit that this is bad. And then you can have whatever opinion you want. But this is not good behavior. Don't do this. You know, that's been my fight today. And I had that fight, and then I hit the block hammer, and I said, this person can't even acknowledge this one really, like nobody should do that. No, that's not justified. That's not cool. You know? And so you can't even do that in your blind rage. You're not, I can't. I tried. I'm not calling you a bad person even. It's just, please. And so, yeah. It's just not nice. Anyway, so.
Nope.
Yeah, but I like where this episode's taking me. I like that I'm admitting my fears to you guys, because I find those movies the most scary to me. Like, I don't get scared of. I love clowns. I love them so
You are
much.
weird. You are
love them.
so weird.
They bring joy to children everywhere.
No, they do not. They murder children everywhere. Clowns are terrible.
It's like the quintessential
Oh my
abuse of
gosh.
power, though, isn't it? Like, they're supposed to be, like, nexuses of joy.
Yeah, they're supposed to be. And then there's John Wayne Gacy. So no clowns.
John Wayne Gacy ruined it for everybody. Remember those vaudevillian
did.
clowns with the little tear?
Oh
like
my
the
gosh.
hobo
Okay.
clowns?
I was just going to say, the only ones that don't scare me are the cute little hobo clowns. Because
Right.
you can see most of their face. I think that's what it is.
Yeah,
You can
well,
see most of their face.
I think the sadness is disarming, rather than the
That's true,
scary,
too.
smiley face, you know?
Right? Nobody's that happy. Quit smiling. Like,
No.
just no. Your life is not that great, clown man. Like, no.
But I
no.
think that's the point. Like, because usually when they have the big smiley faces, they're kind of just like blah, like their face is making the blah face, which is like the whole irony, right? Anyway, I'm too into clowns.
Maybe. I'm all freaked out. Ugh.
But you know what?
I hate clowns so
I
much.
always think of like what it would be, what kind of person, like, I mean, seriously thinking, not just like reactively thinking, but like, what kind of person like really puts their heart and soul into wanting to be a clown? Like, really, like, not just like what you think right now is, oh, serial killer.
No, actually, what I was thinking is I've never told you about my first job.
I was gonna say, I was gonna say, Rachel, because I could see you doing that. I was seriously thinking that.
My very first job ever was Ruby the Clown at Ruby Tuesdays.
Do you have pictures that I can put in the blog for after this episode?
There might be one picture in existence.
That's all I need.
There might be one. I'll have to go through the archives. Yeah.
Okay. I'm being insistent when it comes out.
That was my very first job. My dad was doing strolling magic at Ruby Tuesday, and he knew the owner, of course, because he had a job there. And I was 15, and I wanted a job or needed a job. I don't know how that happened. I got a job somehow, and it was on Tuesday nights. For, 3 or 4 hours, I dressed up like a clown. I brought my face paints. I made balloon animals, and I would entertain the children at their dinner table so their parents could eat in peace.
All the things we did.
Yeah.
But let me ask you, so in all those times, like how long did that last? Just so I can get a sample size.
About a year. I think I
Okay.
did that for about a year.
Like every Tuesday, so like
Every
max
Tuesday.
52 nights, right? So
Yeah.
in
yeah.
all that time, did you scare anybody?
No, not at that time.
Was there another time?
Yes, there was another time because I also dressed up like Pennywise for our 80s fest here.
Okay.
I did.
There's a lot of intentional malice.
Yeah.
Yes.
I purposely scared people. I even had the sharp teeth and everything.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh,
well, let's get
it
a
was
picture of
bad.
that too. I want a
That
picture
I have
of
lots
Ruby
of
and
pictures of.
Pennywise. Yeah.
That I have lots of pictures of, yeah.
And then I'll make people
Ruby and Pennywise. Oh, that'd be cute.
And then I'll make people vote. Like I'll have
Oh
people
my gosh.
vote for one or the other. Like, would you?
Which one's scarier?
Oh yeah, maybe. I don't know. Just like which one do you like more? Now this could be like people's sliding scale could be like meaning more terrifying or like meaning more
that's
like
true.
prefer.
Like could mean anything, yeah.
Who would you rather meet in a
right?
dark alley? And that's a serious question because you'd be like, should I choose the obviously terrifying one or the like the one who seemingly doesn't look terrifying?
Right.
The well-intentioned one who might actually kill me.
I don't know. I'd be pretty terrified of a child in an alley because they shouldn't be there.
Yes. Clown makeup or not, right?
Yeah, no kidding. If there's a kid in an alley, I'm heading the other way.
Oh my God. Like, yeah, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. We're doing the walk of shame on the college campus.
Oh my gosh.
I turn the alley and I'm in the there where the garbage dumps are and like there's a kid in the middle. There's a silhouette of a kid with a light as a backdrop, so you can't make out their features.
Oh, that's the worst.
Right? That's
That
happened to you?
sounds terrifying.
Okay.
No.
God.
No way. Wait, no.
I still think mom mentality is more scary than that. That's the thing. Like to not be able to manage like reasoning. A lack of reason terrifies me. That's the thing.
Well, what's scarier yet is that people with the mob mentality think they know what's going on. Like, that's what's scarier to me about the whole thing, is they believe they're in the right.
Right.
That's what's scarier. And then you get all these other people believing it too. And yeah, that is terrifying.
Right. And the thing is that, like, we have our systems of laws, and we have our systems of, our belief systems about democracy, about how we ought to treat each other in society, like, even as a guideline and not even as a law. Like, these things protect us from becoming monsters and also protect us from monsters. Mm-hmm. So to abscond with that, which helps, even, like, to create boundaries from one another to maintain individual freedom and stuff, like all that stuff, like, to abscond with all that is, like, it's so frightening, because it's the very thing that will help protect you, and you're willing to actually, it's like cutting your nose off to spite your face. That's the thing that people, and that's scary to me. Like, it's like the monster that's willing to almost shred itself, like, as it reaches through a barbed wire fence to get you. You know what I mean? And that's frightening to me. So I'll give you a visual.
Yeah, thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Gonna try to go to sleep in a few hours here. Thanks.
I knew you'd appreciate that. Thank you.
That's all right. I don't get nightmares anymore.
I just wake up with a numb feeling.
My nightmares are like being at work all day, and then I wake up and I'm like, shit, that wasn't real.
Oh my god! Like, and nothing happens, that kind of thing.
Yes.
Oh my god. Well, let's just do an anatomy of that the rest of the night.
Or worse yet, I'm on my way. I'm driving to work and I'm already late, and then things keep happening that make me more late.
Oh, I mean, I don't love those, but I love that idea is like you're trying to get somewhere, and it just could be anything, but for you it happens to be work.
It's always
interesting
work.
That it's those two things.
It's always work.
You need a vacation, man. Or something.
I just had one.
Sabbatical. That was not a vacation. That was a lot of work.
For me, that was a vacation.
I guess so. But yeah, I always find that fascinating, like how you have these dreams about trying to get somewhere, and like sometimes desperately, like I have to go here, I have to get to class, or I have to, like I have to save this person, or like
sometimes you don't even know. It's just a sense of urgency. You don't even know where it is you're going.
Right, and then there's always like these little detours that your mind is trying to get you to go to, and then you keep trying to get to that thing,
to get back,
and then eventually you never get there. You never do get there. And I always find that fascinating, how like, and then
you wake up.
Yeah, you do all these other things. You keep trying to repeat things. It's like hell is repetition, right? It was like, what was the perfect illustration of this? It was American History X. Have you watched that movie with Ryan Gosling? But it's the end. Hell is repetition. The guy's.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, the kid is at the end of the movie. The kid's trying to run to class, and this is not even a spoiler. Like the end of the movie.
Okay.
And it's kind of like a dream sequence. He's running up the stairs, and in every landing he gets to, he's like, I'm sorry, I have to go. I'm gonna be late. I'm sorry, I'm gonna be late. He keeps going up those stairs.
Yeah.
And that's how the movie ends.
Yeah.
And that's frightening to me.
Yep. Yeah. Something like that.
So, anyway, I guess I know. Let me see. Let me see how far we're into the episode. Yeah, we're at 47 minutes. Well, no, this is what the lead is.
We've discussed the song.
Yeah. Well, we've discussed the mood.
The mood. The mood of the episode. Yeah. I'm super excited that Marco's back. Yee!
Yeah, I mean, come on already. I mean, I'm sure we'll see more of him in the next couple episodes.
Oh, absolutely. I was just so excited when I heard Yumiko say his name, and I was like, where is he?
Wait, who?
Yeah, like, Marco, where?
And even, by the way, Oscar, who's played by Anthony Michael Lopez, he talks in the next episode in the sneak peeks, which I didn't put down in the sneak peeks, but I had it in here, had it in the chamber.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool. Like people like Birdie and Oscar, like when I see them actually having a solid role or speaking.
Wait, Oscar or Scott?
Oscar. Oh, you're talking about Scott, which is played by Kendrick Green.
Who's Oscar?
Oscar is the guy from the Hilltop. He's Hispanic.
I think I need to see his face again. The only Oscar I'm remembering is the prisoner.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not him. Oscar is the character. Yeah, and he's played by Anthony Michael Lopez.
Okay. As soon as I see his face, I'll be like, oh, duh, him. But for some reason, it's just not coming to me.
It's a face thing. Like Birdie, Karen Cisse is a face. Anthony Michael Lopez is a face. And Marco is more than just a face.
Marco's way more than a face.
Yeah. Although, yeah, we should see more of him, too. I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of want to see like more of his relationship with like Earl, like Sutton, the blacksmith.
Oh, yeah? Think he's blacksmithing?
I mean, I know he specifically transferred to Hilltop to do that too. So
because him and Ken were pretty tight, and that was Ken's dad. So
exactly,
it would make sense.
Yeah. So I mean, like, what's the point if we don't get to see more of that, right? Like, why even bring up Ken?
We'll see more.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see more. We got to see him whipping up some weapons and stuff, some special weapons.
Yeah. Well, I hope so. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Right. I bet he made Luke's new weapon.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I saw the behind-the-scenes in fights because I watched Talking Dead. It's apparently... Remember how we thought it was like clock gears?
It did look like that.
Right?
Is it not?
No, it's motorcycle gears.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah.
Which I can see is a little bit more lightweight. Like, you know... Like, it's got to be, because, you know, motorcycle has to be strong, but, like, lightweight to move around, to be, like, meow, meow. Where clock gears are like, oh, this is built to last. It'll last for centuries. And like
that's true. People aren't lugging clocks around.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And I can't imagine, like, Swiss parts being, like, crazy durable. I think they're, like, rust, like preventing rust, but, like, sensitive enough to, like, be finely tuned and stuff. I don't know. Anyway, I'm talking out of my ass on that one.
Cool little tidbit there, though.
Right. Yeah, and I still maintain that the handle or like the rod part it does look like a clock gear or something like that, but because it's got like a little like almost like a crown at both ends. Maybe it's just a big ass shower curtain.
Maybe
for a very small window. I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah. You enter the scene with the song and everything, and Daryl's coming down the stairs, and you get like the sense of, like, a lot of what a scene paints is what tries to paint is a sense of geography, right? But it also tries to do is like, there's almost like a sense of like when's the last time you saw Daryl really smile, right? And then you start to...
I can't think of any time.
Right, exactly. And when is the last time... And then, like, you automatically almost start to think of, like, where was Daryl last year around this time? This episode number in Season 9, right? It's like the episode right before Rick goes away, right? Mm-hmm. And look where he is now, at the table, sitting around with his family, having fun, smiling, you know, watching... And I'll get into this thing... But watching RJ put, like, this towel over his face. And I just thought to myself, oh, my God, RJ's already foreshadowing the whispers. Did you think that? Because that was kind of like...
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
I just thought he was being goofy.
Because, you know, he was the one that found the mask.
That's true. He put it in his bucket.
Yep.
That's right. Little man knows more than he's letting on.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what's going on with that, but like Kids in the Apocalypse, you gotta watch them.
Good catch. No, I didn't think that.
Yeah.
I didn't. I just kind of took it as the sweet moment that it was. Should have been paying closer attention.
No, I did too. That's why I brought that up, because like you would almost be 100% distracted because in the last episode, hallucination or dream Daryl dazzled us with so many words, and then in this episode dazzled us with his smile.
No, I was paying paying closer attention to him staring at the empty chair where my first thought was where Rick should be, and then I remembered where Carol should be.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
More to the point, right? Yeah. And speaking of Carol, there's also another kind of callback going on here, because if you remember season 2, there's a moment where Carol actually brings dinner to Daryl because he'd been just shot with an arrow, And so there's a little bit of a thing going on there, like bringing people, like these two specific people bringing each other meals. But, you know, I always thought that was kind of cool. Like, you see these things over and over again. But what does that say, like, about the song happening in that specific moment also, too, for Carol and Daryl? Like, on the one hand, it's like you said, they will always have this bond, right? Mm-hmm. But on the other, do you feel like they're moving apart? And I'll tell you the scene that really did it for me.
In some senses, I could see that. But on the flip side, I could argue the other side only because, well, like we had talked about when she wanted to run away. And she said, let's go to New Mexico, you know. And this time she invited him along, where I saw that as growth for Carol, where normally any other time she would have just gotten out of there by herself. But this time she actually wanted somebody with her, and it was Daryl. So, I mean, I do see what you mean. Like, I see Carol kind of pulling away emotionally. Like, she's obviously still grieving Henry. I mean, obviously. She went away for a while, but it was easy to put it all out of her mind. Now that she's back, you know, it's all coming flooding back, and now she really has to go through the proper grieving process.
Right, like she's actually facing it.
Yeah, she is. She really is facing it for the first time now. And so I do see her sort of withdrawing emotionally, but I keep going back to the fact that she wanted to run away with Daryl, and I think that's a big deal, that she wanted somebody with her this time.
Well, I think she's the only one that she trusts pretty
Daryl?
much. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But I think there's also something really, really dangerous about that, because, and I'll tell you why. I'm going to bring up these examples of, like, that friend, because, I mean, you have a good friend, a really, really good friend, but you realize that he or she is a huge Debbie Downer. And I'm not trying to say this to make a direct comparison, but there is something to be said about when you try to be there for somebody and you start to realize that who you are and what you are to that person is a crutch. And if they keep looking at you to be their crutch, they are never going to stand on their own 2 feet again and be what they're meant to be, to move on, to do whatever they need to do to get past this moment. And I've been there. And I've been the crutch, I've been the crutch, and I've also been the person who has needed the crutch. And both times, a swift kick in the ass was needed. and some, I mean, it's even just as something as little as not being where this person is at anymore, because what your friendship is, and it's kind of like Eugene and Rosita. It's kind of like there's a moment where, like, what your friendship was and what it was predicated on, or what has become predicated on, are completely different things now. Like Eugene, it was like their whole friendship was kind of predicated on a false pretense. Yeah. But like with Daryl and Carol, the pretense was baked in. Like, it was there from the beginning. It was like they got along, they had chemistry, they had this bond right from the beginning. But now this thing, it's like forming a little wedge, and it's slowly. And I'll say, like, it's slowly pulling them apart, not only, like, in mood, but also in kind of, like, behavior. Like, they'll still, again, like the song says, they will always have this bond no matter what. But sometimes some parts of you will start to drift away. And I didn't see that, I didn't notice that any more than this one scene where they're on the stoop, right? Mm-hmm. And, you know, obviously, like, she brings up Mexico, but they're also, like, is this thing that she says. Carol's like riding along with the Hysteria train. Like Hilltop and Alexandria are attacked. But Daryl, and you see this in the episode a lot, Daryl is like the most measured and fair-minded person. And he's like saying, well, we don't know that. Right. We don't know that was the Whisperers. And that blew my mind to see it, and it's especially crazy because throughout this episode, I'm like looking at Daryl and Lydia and seeing how this weird, like they're looking at Daryl's looking at where he once was when he looks at Lydia, right?
Right.
And then
to
have him have this measured response to Carol, like something that like Daryl would be fully on board with in the past, like you're my brother, I'll just do whatever you say, like that sort of thing, and have him just be like, well, we don't know that. We need proof. Or else we're attacking the wrong person. But Carol is just Carol, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's what makes me feel like they're in different places almost. Like Carol's bent in this direction, and she needs to be either twisted back or made into something else, or I don't know. You know, and
I don't know.
It's bugging me
does she really though? I mean, I look at Carol's character obviously as a mother. You know what I mean? I relate to her in that way. Well, a lot of ways, but mostly in that way. And she lost Henry, and she knows what happened. She knows who did it. So, I mean, honestly, I can't say I would feel any different. Any bad thing, if a rotten tomato grew, I would blame it on Alpha. Like everything would be her fault from forever until she was dead. In my mind, yeah, I would absolutely blame her. Now, as a viewer, I don't necessarily think that it was the Whisperers who attacked Alexandria or chopped down the tree. Right. I don't know that.
I'm starting to feel that too.
But as a mother, in Carol's situation, absolutely. I would think the exact same thing she does.
Right.
I would.
And that's the thing. Like we have the luxury of like a 360 view.
Right.
Like the situation, and even we don't know exactly 100% what's going on.
No.
Which is also scary. But we have more of a luxury than Carol in the moment, or even like anybody in the Alexandria. Like this is like the same argument we have with everybody. It's like you think you are Daryl Dixon in the apocalypse, but you would be Eugene at best in Daryl cosplay.
Right.
But this is like the same argument. It's like you think you would be this measured, fair-minded person, like not falling suspect to hysteria. Oh my God, you'd be the first one on the panic train. You'd be taking first class.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, depending on what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have the luxury of saying, Carol, stop being an idiot. Listen to Daryl. He's making sense. But whatever. I mean, like even in real life, I'd be like, I don't blame her the way she feels, but I don't want her to get us killed. Okay? Can we not have
that?
And, you know,
I don't want her flying off the handle or doing something crazy. That would be bad.
Yeah, speaking of Talking Dead from before, like I saw the response to, was Carol justified in trying to shoot Alpha? And I'm like, of course, yes, right? Right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
But on the other hand, there are two major things that make that decision really unpalatable, right?
Yeah.
One, she instantly ends her life. Two, she instantly, probably, most likely, ends the life of her friends on the immediate. Like, for sure, guaranteed, done. Maybe one survivor if they're lucky. And that's the major thing. And then there's the whole other thing that, let's say she tries to kill Alpha, does not succeed, gets her friends killed and her, then there's the whole, like, possibility, and we'll get to that possibility in this episode, that she gets hundreds, like, I don't know how many people are left in Alexandria and Hilltop, but, like, all these other people killed. And so, good job.
Yeah.
That's the thing. But, like, that 94 or 96% agreed with that. I was just like, oh, my God.
That she was justified. I mean, her actions were justified. Yeah. Was it smart? No. It was not smart.
I think that was the question. Was it smart?
Okay.
I don't remember.
Then no. I mean, she had every reason to try and kill her. Absolutely. Yeah. Like, but then, in that moment, no. It was far too risky. I mean, not to mention there was a small herd of walkers behind them. Like,
right.
I mean, let's say everything went to plan. Now you still have this herd of walkers to deal with.
Right, in the immediate, right.
Yeah.
Forget about the horde. Right.
So, I mean, no, it wasn't smart. But, again, I mean, we're seeing her act a lot on emotion and not so much thought recently.
Right.
Which can be scary, too, because...
Right.
She normally has a plan.
Yeah, like her motivations have classically been seated in some sort of rationale, like some sort of logic, not emotion.
Right. Doesn't always make sense to everybody, but she has made sense of what she's doing and why she's doing it.
Except for last year. There was something about, because I know you weren't on the show last year when we were covering this, but that I'm still trying to make heads or tails out of that one move with the Savior remnants. Like, just burning them
setting them on fire?
Yeah, man. There is something about that I mean, to this day, we don't know, what that was about.
They threatened Henry.
There was but, like,
That's enough.
There wasn't any more to that. Do you know what I mean? It was just
They took
grand
a ring.
gesture and then just nothing.
Yeah.
Right? Like there was like, wait, what happened? Is there going to be more of that? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, and they only briefly mentioned it because that was just before they got the letter from the highwaymen.
Yes.
And I remember the look on her face. And somebody brought up something that happened or something about those guys, and she had like kind of a panicked look on her face, like, oh shit.
I think you were on during that.
But that was it, right?
Yeah.
But that was the only mention of what had happened. Yeah.
See, like that's a perfect example of like you knew what they were trying to do with bringing that in, but they didn't punch it home, right? Like they got it, but it was like, okay, now what was that for? They could have just said it and not have her do it. Because having her do it and watching us see her do it is big. It's too big.
Big.
And somebody killed burned all those saviors to death. Yeah, perfect. These guys are bad dudes. Like, okay. All right, we saw that happen, bitch. Like, okay. But like
I think she saw an opportunity to just take out a large group of bad people, and she took it. I mean, they weren't going to do good. I mean, they were never going to be good people. They were always going to be a hassle, so she had to take care of them. She did what she had to do.
That does illustrate her classic Carol, for sure. Yeah, I'll say. But then, after so many years, you'd think that she'd grown somewhat. And you know what I mean? Like, because you have to look at it from their perspective. I don't think they were going to kill any of those. I don't think the Savior Remnants actually wanted to kill anybody. They're just eking out an existence, whereas like the kingdom is not necessarily living large. They're kind of falling apart, but they're in a way better position. Like they're eating the horses, and they have walker horses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's how far they've gone down the hole.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're obviously like pathetic. You see them like laying out in the streets. That's the thing. Like, anyway, I know we're digressing, but
they should have given them mercy.
Ooh. Maybe. Okay, that makes it a little bit more palatable to me in a weird way. Some mercy though, and the same kind
Carol's
she
mercy.
showed. Yeah, she showed Tyrese's girlfriend, was it?
Yeah, Karen.
Right, and the other, I don't know who the other person was.
Karen and
David.
I want to say.
It was David. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's in that notebook.
Oh, all our hosts have a notebook.
So I want to know what's up with Aaron and Lydia?
Yeah.
I thought Aaron was okay with Lydia.
Yeah. Right?
I mean, I know she's not anybody's favorite, but I thought they were at least okay. And he totally saw Gage and Margot and Highwayman, talking crap to her. And
Alfred,
he was just
Margot, and
Alfred, is that his name? Okay, yeah.
Engaged.
Gage and Margot I caught, but I didn't know Alfred.
Yeah, Alfred's going to come up later now, I mean, because of all this.
Right. I mean, he totally saw what they were saying to Lydia, and he didn't even say anything.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah.
What the hell, man?
And I mean, you could already see that, like, I think, yeah, okay, so you can already see that, like, Aaron is kind of already beating the drums of, like, I mean, it's such a stark contrast between him last year and him this year. Because last year, even after Jesus died, he was like, maybe, and he said this twice in the same episode, maybe what would have happened anyway. Mm-hmm. He said that twice, like in this measured tone.
I remember that. Mm-hmm.
And this is 6 years after, even when he lost his arm, he was like saying to Rick, are you kidding me? I'm just glad to be alive. And then to have him flip from being that person to this scared, frightened, stopping this fear from spreading at all costs. And probably a lot to do with Enid dying too. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then between that and Negan, being around and more visible, it's kind of like a kick in the teeth. It's like, how much of this am I supposed to take? Yeah.
Well, he could be utilizing Lydia more, and also in the same time, sort of, I don't know, getting her, into the society with everybody too. She knows the most about the Whisperers. Everybody's looking at her like she's still one of them, which, I mean, I can't say that I wouldn't do that, but if I were Aaron, I would say, look, we have an opportunity here to learn from her. So if she shares everything she knows, that one is kind of earning trust because she's sharing information. Obviously, if she was loyal to them, she wouldn't be doing that. If she was there as a spy, she wouldn't be doing that. And it would also help all the other Alexandrians get to know Lydia, see that she's not crazy. She's just a product of her life. I mean, the way she grew up,
Although,
nobody else did that.
Contrarian Elbow says, but she could be feeding false information.
She could be. She could be.
And then and that's where the fear kind of grows. But wait, if she could feed us false information, what has she been doing this entire time? Has she been feeding information to the enemy somehow? Etc., etc., etc. Paranoia builds until it explodes.
Yeah.
Frightening. And I think that's maybe why he keeps her at arm's length. And it's even, but that's the thing, like, you can go into the mechanics, like, all you want about why he did or didn't, but the reaction is perfect because all it really tries to illustrate in that moment is all the little stops that are put on the railroad to get the train to stop moving that were just like lifted. You know what I mean? Like all the little things that could have been that somebody could have said to not escalate things further. That had they been said, we wouldn't get to where we are at the end of the episode with all the graffiti.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's true. It kind of goes to what Michonne said too. Right. Well, and it like Michonne says, don't ever take your enemy at their word. Judge them by their actions.
Right.
Lydia has proved through her actions, could prove through her actions that she's trustworthy. Even if you don't take her at her word, she could prove useful.
Right. Right. I mean, look at all the ways that actions have proven people's worth. Actions that Gage, Alfred, and Margot took, and they get off scot-free. Well, except for Margot. She got her divine justice. But yeah, they prove, and like Gage, not even a good fighter. Like, you're looking at their feet, bitch. But like, it's their actions speak louder than their actions just say everything about who they are.
Talk about mob mentality. I mean, during that beatdown, Gage didn't want to. He wasn't in it, but Margot talked him into it. She's like, what about your friends? What about this? What about,
But it's
really
easy
egging
to
him
lose
on.
track, by the way. Like, unless you're like really paying attention, you actually hear Margot go, "What, are you gonna let her get away with that? Look what you did to your friends, blah, blah, blah." And then he gets into it.
He doesn't hit her until she says, I loved Henry. I did. As soon as she brought up Henry, I think that's what tipped Gage over the edge. I don't know why Henry would do it and not Addie, but it did. I don't know.
Because Gage, no, I'm kidding. I was going to say something stupid. She probably knew what I was going to say. He was really attracted to Henry. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, maybe Henry was his best friend or I don't, but still, like she kind of, it was like he wanted to harass her, but that was it. He didn't want to hurt her.
Right,
he just wanted to yell at her and he just wanted to make her feel bad, and then things started getting physical, and all of a sudden he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, all this anger that he didn't know he had inside of him just was wailed out on her.
Right.
And that's really what it is. That's why
Once
what
he
she
tipped.
says. Yeah. That's why what she says sets him off. And it's like I didn't know I had that in me. And he when he was even saying that, I think, wasn't he saying that to Gabriel in the council or something like that? No. He was saying that out loud to Negan.
Like right after, I think. Like when they're all standing around and Lydia's still on the ground, Yeah, and
Lydia's kind of just clinging to Negan's leg.
Negan.
And Gage is like on the floor, and he's like, "Yeah, I only wanted to scare her, and then and then Brandon shows up."
Right. I mean, you think the girl's not scared already?
Yeah.
She knows she doesn't belong there. She feels like an outsider. Like, how much more scared could she be?
And what's the point?
The one friend she had is gone.
Right.
She's terrified.
I mean, she was already facing all this stuff before Henry died, too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, just from the fair, like, they were just being assholes to her.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's just, like, taking it to a whole other level, too. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, again, this is, like, why this stuff scares me. Because there's just something so terrible about, like, what that can actually... Like, what self-harm you could even produce when you do that sort of thing. Because it's, like... Now... I don't believe in the idea that you make your worst enemy. Like you know, like self-fulfilling prophecies. I think they kind of exist for things, but I don't to assume that about people. Like, so, like, let's say you make an assumption about somebody that isn't true, but you keep hammering away at them until it becomes true. I don't think it's because that person becomes the thing that you hate. I think it's because you're looking for that thing in them to hate, and then finally, like, a little glimmer of it, no matter how faint or real or not, like, you see that and then you just pounce on it, which kind of goes back to Twitter too, by the way. But anyway, but it's, I mean, look, I bring this up because it ties in, but and that's the thing, like you see these people, she's not doing anything wrong, but I think there's a thing where, like, you have to put it somewhere. You're living in relative peace and quiet, like in splendor, relatively, compared to how you were living before. And so you're not really thinking of, like, which is what most people are saying in the show. Like, Michonne is saying it, Carol's even saying it. It's like, this is a distraction. Like, Sadiq is saying it, this is a distraction.
Yeah.
All this internal stuff is distracting us from what's happening on the outside. You know? This is meant to distract.
Yep. And tire us all out, too. Kind of like what Judith says.
Yeah. Which is awesome.
All this running around, getting us tired, and we're not going to be ready for the big fight.
Yeah, like RJ. Like, trying to tuck out RJ.
So I got to tell you, you totally got in my head, too. So I'm watching this episode, right?
No.
And when they're in the, yep. When they're in the wagon on the way there, and Michonne and Judith are having their conversation, I'm looking at everybody else, you know, on the caravan, and I'm like, nobody's even looking at Judith.
Michonne's just talking to herself.
Yeah, I'm like, is she there? Is she really there? But she is, because Eugene makes a point to talk about her later in the episode.
I don't know. We could have all just done that. Maybe Eugene isn't real either. I'm kidding.
I mean, I was on board with the what did you call it? The mass hysteria, like the mass delusion. This big,
it's a shared delusion, right?
Shared delusion that Judith is real, but I don't think Eugene would buy into that. He would be too smart for that. He wouldn't let himself.
Well,
think
he knows what kind of a scary ninja sword wielding person Michonne is. You want to upset that? No. She's already had one psychotic break. Remember, like, when we found her in the beginning?
That's
maybe
true.
Rick left specific instructions, like, okay, look, if she goes into this again, you got to buy into whatever delusion she's got.
This.
And then he leaves the show, and that's the mess he leaves. Michonne the mess.
just let her have her delusions.
If she says she has a kid, just comment, say something nice about your kid.
Go with it. Just go with it.
God,
do not argue.
Can you imagine how far we can take this? And can you imagine if we're right? Like, honestly, could you imagine if we're right?
No way. There's no way we're right.
I mean, we're not.
It's fun to joke about. We can't be right.
But wouldn't that be crazy? Wouldn't that be absolutely crazy?
That would be nuts. That would be absolutely nuts.
You know who would ultimately get the credit for this? I mean, like,
Ashley.
Well, let's take a step back. Ashley is the genesis for this, but I don't think even she would have called Judith as not real.
No, but it started with RJ. She didn't think RJ was real.
She gets the genesis of the thought.
Right. And for a minute, I was like, what?
All of us were like that. Yeah. In the last episode, right? I think it was last. Yeah,
in a bunch of episodes. Yeah.
But, like, particularly the last one. There was that moment, like, where we're like,
yeah,
are we safe? I'm like, wait, what the why is 2 times? Like, why?
Right.
RJ's
in
asleep
the same
2 times?
creepy position. Right. In the middle of the day. Like, it was weird. It was weird.
Yeah. I mean, because we both know that, I mean, you know, in spite of myself, like, we both know that Judith dies in the comic way back at the prison.
Oh, she's like days old when she dies.
Food.
Yeah. She's like barely opened her eyes, and she dies.
Like, imagine the shared delusion of Judith is like ever since Carl was like, "Hey, Daryl, hold Judith." Like, oh, I'm dying.
Daryl just like takes this empty blanket.
Yeah, or like pretend, just
walks
complete
around
pretend.
with the blanket.
Like, I don't want to piss off the ninja sword wielding person.
Oh my gosh!
That we seem to
right?
care about, I guess. She's a pretty good weapon. Anyway.
So so I was really looking for, I wanted Carol to be on here too when we talk about Michonne and Ezekiel's scene.
Right.
Because there is so much from the comics in that scene.
Right, I heard about that. Maybe it's good that
little
she's
bits
not.
here and there. It's little bits here and there. It's not like a whole chunk of a scene or anything like that, but there are a lot of comic book references throughout that whole scene.
Okay, yeah, because I'd heard about that. And actually, I heard about that on Talking Dead, too. But also, like, I think they like, hinted at it. But
okay.
But I think...
I haven't watched Talking yet.
I think Twitter actually did a better job of kind of, like, illustrating some of the here's and there's. But, like, you can help me and maybe the rest of the fans kind of know what you're talking about.
And, you know, I don't Twitter, so I haven't seen that. So I don't know. You can tell me if I got it right.
I don't twat. Or Twitter?
I don't. What's the tweet? Do I tweeter?
What?
How do I send the bird?
Like the little horn. What?
My horn! Don't make fun of my horn!
Oh my god. Think your birthday's on July 4th? Okay, yeah, noted.
Oh, well, yeah. All week in Atlanta. Huh?
Hey.
What?
What?
Huh? I can't hear you.
I'm gonna get one with your name on it and everything. It's great. Cosmo Mom on one side. Property of R. Burt.
I will use it too, man. You laugh, but I will.
I know you will.
Obviously, the line he delivers. Yeah.
Maybe in another universe, right?
Right. That was the freebie because in the comic books they are a couple.
I see. And in the comic books they are separated because Ezekiel's head was separated from his body.
Correct. And before that, Michonne went on a long fishing trip on a boat and returned in a similar manner that Carol did on the show.
And before the head's up. Okay, gotcha.
Yes,
now,
all before that.
Was his head removed while she was away? Because that sounds uber tragic. Okay, fine.
No, she came back shortly after the Whisperer showed up. Shortly thereafter.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting how they're choosing different ways of approaching comic storylines. So maybe in another universe.
Well, I like what Michonne said when she was trying to relate to Ezekiel about how he was feeling, and she said, "I've been there." And she starts talking about how she was just going to give up, and the next walker she saw, she was just going to let it bite her.
Right.
That's exactly how Carol dies in the comics.
Ooh.
She walks right up to a walker and bites it. And do you know why?
Carol bites the walker?
No, she lets the walker bite her.
Okay. No, that would have been cooler though.
Yeah, she bites the walker. No, she's super depressed. This actually happens at the prison. She walks out. They have a walker chained up, and I believe it's for training maybe, or somebody's just I don't remember why it's there, but she just walks right into it because she's so depressed. And you know why that is? Because she had a relationship with Tyrese, and then Michonne shows up, and Michonne steals Tyrese from Carol.
Whoa. Whoa. It's like...
So the parallels I'm seeing here...
It's manception.
Are kinda. So in this scenario, Ezekiel is Carol, and Carol is Tyrese, and she has chosen Daryl over quotes. She's choosing to be with Daryl over Ezekiel, and now Ezekiel is depressed, and we can only assume contemplating suicide. Right.
And I'll just note this because it's just easier to get out of the way. Like, even by the end of the episode, he's telling Jerry, I'm fine. And he's better-ish, but he's not fine.
No, my husband noticed the same thing. When he turns around and walks away from Jerry, he has this look on his face like, I'm not fine, but I will be.
I'm not even prepared to say that. I think he's better than he was before, but I think he's just not fine.
I think he wants to be fine, and he's going to try to be fine.
And you know what's crazy about that? Because like these are the things you don't write down. Is like fucking Carol. Like Carol and he are in the exact same place because we use the exact same words to describe Carol. We said, I want to be fine. I'm sick and tired of not being fine. Like they're both going about it different ways. Like Carol is like raging, you know, and using stimulants, and Ezekiel is just bummed out, paralyzed, like inaction versus too much action. Like please stop acting. Like,
right,
please go to
total
sleep.
opposite. Yeah.
But they're both going through the same thing. Both would prefer, you know, and sick and tired of feeling this way. Like, but to give Zeke some credit for once is at least I think he's going through it, and I think the only thing that he's not doing is acknowledging his frailties. Like even all this time, I'm sure it's been like almost a year. Like it was like close to a year probably. I want to say that might make sense.
Since it happened.
Yeah, actually that makes sense. A whole year later, because like I'm going by Rosita's pregnancy, which is probably like 1 or 2 months in, maybe. And then having the baby been born, let's say 42 days after, that's probably it's like it's probably roughly a year.
Yeah. Well, Lydia does when Lydia's down in Negan's cell, she does make a comment about what happened last year.
There you go.
So there we go.
Yep.
Yeah. But I just thought that whole scene between Michonne and Ezekiel was really cool. I liked all the little comic book nuggets. I like that we finally saw that kiss, and it wasn't what anybody thought it was going to be.
That's what I wanted to mention. Like, having no knowledge of the comics, like, I wanted to just mention the fact that they did it again. They still have the capacity to fake us out.
Yep. Oh, God. I love this show so much. Every show I watch, I could tell you what's going to happen in the first 10 minutes. This show, 10 years later, I'm still surprised every week.
Everybody thinks, like, Carol's gonna be the one to kill Alpha.
See, and I want that to happen.
Everybody
but
does.
I don't know that it will. I want it to happen, though. I feel like Carol needs that.
Right.
She needs to be the one to do that.
I'll tell you what. I actually don't agree with that. I don't think she needs that. I think she needs something else. Because I made this observation last year when we thought this up. I was thinking to myself, but does she? Like, the thing is, like, what do you become if you get the thing that you thought you wanted to get? Now, like, I'm sure everybody would be on the same page as, like, Carol needs to get this. But Carol specifically, though, because I'm thinking to myself, if she gets Alpha, do the nightmares end?
No.
You know what I mean? Like, does the hole in her heart...
No, of course not.
Yeah, does the hole in her heart, like, somehow heal? That's
not the point. That's not why you do it. That's not why I would do it.
Right.
I wouldn't do it to heal myself. I would do it for revenge.
This is why you still fight with your aunt.
Yeah, right.
This is why you still fight with your aunt Thanksgiving. You'll get there. I believe in you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I wouldn't, as a mother, I wouldn't be doing this to feel better about anything.
Right.
I know it wouldn't make me feel better. Nothing is going to make me feel better. But I need to do this. I have to end this.
But you do realize the huge difference between you and Carol is that Carol is like a bazooka at the termites, and you're just a person in the world doing whatever you can. Like, Carol's a superhuman. Like, it's like bringing a bazooka to a knife fight. You know, it's like game over. So I'm saying, like, how does that affect others? How does that affect herself? Because she could turn the bazooka around on herself. You know what I mean? That's classic Carol.
Easily.
You know,
very easily.
Almost suiciding herself in the freeway with all those saviors, almost, and like pulling out a Hail Mary at the last second, seeing if it would work.
Right. I would also be okay if Lydia did it.
Killed Alpha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I would be especially okay if Beta did it.
Oh man, yeah, both of those have interesting consequences.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But
and now that Beta's, like, seeing Alpha start to lose it, like, I could see that more and more.
Although I'm starting to see that, like, Alpha having these feelings for Lydia, and the reason why they go back and show Beta's wearing of his best friend's face, they're showing both frailties.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the episode, they're both acknowledging, yes, we both have these frailties. So let's just keep this one a secret.
Right.
So, like, I don't think, I mean, it would be cool to see that happen, like Alpha, going a bridge too far for Beta. Like, okay, it was one thing when we had the secret, but now that you're spilling the tea.
Yeah.
Like, all right. And then Gamma comes in and just murks them both out.
Right.
That's
right.
what I think.
Well, what happens when everybody finds out Alpha did not kill Lydia?
Exactly.
Would it not then fall on Beta to sort of step up and say, look, you are not fit to be leader?
Right. Exactly. It's like, what were we following you for? We could have been, like, in the lap of luxury in either of these wonderful 3 kingdoms. Like,
right.
Or 2. Sorry.
2 now. Yeah.
Yeah. Whoops.
Whoops.
My bad. I mean, or, like, maybe even stay at the ruined kingdom. Like, that seems better than being with the Whisperers.
Better than the woods, right?
It seems like it has 4 walls and a roof.
Yep.
Whoops. Yeah, so I don't know. But yeah, I do want to go back to that kiss for just a jolly second, because I looked at it really closely, because it was a little
Did you
hot.
pause it?
No, I didn't put it in slow motion either. But I did notice, like at the beginning there was a little resistance. In the middle though, there was that solid eye close. And
she
she's
gave
like
in.
really leaning in, and then she goes, "Oh wait! I gotta back out of this." Well, excuse me, I got carried away.
Well, and she explains that very well too. You know, when she says, "I haven't kissed anyone over 4 feet in 6 years." I mean, at that point,
adorable.
The girl I know, right? It is adorable, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, of course, she just wanted something, to feel something, right?
And that's what I like about that, is that she allows herself. And I love that. She allows her so she doesn't beat herself up over it. That I love. And I will not, but I want to, like, yell at any fan that says otherwise. Like, you have to keep yourself chaste for Rick.
Oh, no.
I'm like, that's silly. Because I think there are even lines, there's even, like, some really heartfelt dialogue that throws the scent off of anybody that would chastise her for feeling that way.
I mean,
the partner
come on, Lori waited, what, 4 hours? So Michonne can take 6 years. 7 years at this point.
Yeah,
so,
wow.
Yeah. Michonne took a good 7 years. She deserves a kiss.
Shoot. But I want to talk about that partner, because I love how this episode is moving. The whole partner in crime thing.
Yes, got me. It got me.
Yeah. But more to the point, something happens in this episode. You start to see it in the beginning of the episode. And then by the end of the episode, you realize that I've been ignoring, like, the perfect partner in crime this whole time. Somebody who has a bit of my voice, a bit of my ex-partner in crime, and that's Judith.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And she really doesn't... I think she needed that confrontation with Zeke to kind of let that simmer and then really pay attention to Judith. Like, Judith wows her in the beginning. She's like, okay. Like, okay. And then Judith goes, all right, I'm done. Okay. I'm sorry. You do what you got to do, girl. But then, like, you have Zeke's confrontation right after, and then you see how impressed Michonne is in the Walker fight at Hilltop. She's like, wait a minute. She gives
so adorable.
She gives good advice, and she can defend herself. Yeah. I'm this proud parent. I helped with that.
Look what I did.
I made this.
I did this.
Something that I don't think she got to see it with her own children. And that's really, I mean, tragic, but at the same time, something good came out of all this. Like, something good came out of this entire thing. And that's my conclusion at the end of the episode. And then she has her come along with her to Oceanside at the end, which really says a lot about taking Zeke's thing, reflecting, putting up a mirror to herself about leadership and how it's all on you, and it's like, well, no, maybe it isn't all on me. Maybe there's a piece of me that is sitting right there that has all my judgments without all my baggage, like we were talking about before, the ninja wielding psycho, a ninja sword wielding psycho with a shared delusion. But there's a piece of me that I can rely on. There's, I don't know how much yet, but maybe. And Daryl too, like Daryl on the walkie. It's like she sees in Daryl somebody that she can trust with her judgment enough to make the decision for her.
Oh, so, yeah, when she gives him her proxy vote. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I made like a tiny little footnote about like where Daryl was exactly last year, and with Rick's blind trust in Daryl, like having all this unwarranted faith in Daryl and taking care of the sanctuary. And like you see Daryl's like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like they're not listening to me.
Well, and furthermore, why would Rick think that is a good idea? I mean, he just spent however long in a dungeon there. That's the last place he needed to be.
Exactly.
I mean, for real. That is the last place Daryl needed to be.
Yeah, in spite of all the makeovers, whatever it is, right?
Oh, it does. Yeah, no, absolutely not. That is the last place I would have put Daryl.
That's like having
that was just poor management.
It's like having like a Holocaust survivor manage the Museum of Holocaust. It's like
exactly.
Crazy.
Yeah. Yes, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that.
It was like on top of like the blind faith, because like Daryl wasn't at where everybody else was at. He didn't like the idea of big communities trying to help each other out too.
Right? No.
He openly admits this to both Rick and Carol. It's like, so why are you making me do this? Like, I know you trust me, but you're not using good judgment. Here with Michonne, it's so warranted. It goes back to my comment about what the contrast between him and Carol is like almost night and day, though, like in terms of what to do. So it's like, it's so amazing to see. And this is everything we wanted to see Daryl become, like this, still taking no bullshit, but like also like using crazy judgment, It's almost more amazing than getting actual lines, which he's getting, thankfully.
He's getting a lot of lines, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Glad to see it.
Yeah, I just like how all these tie-ins lead to one another, like how they have value and why this matters, and like I don't know, and like how it kind of circles around Michonne a little bit, circles around Judith, and circles around Daryl, and you see how each one lights something up in the other person. So, yeah. But let's talk about Negan for a fraction of a second. I don't know how much we can say, but like, it seems like he's saying all the right things. Like, all the things that are actually true. And nobody is... Like, it must be really shitty for Daryl to have to admit Negan is right.
Right?
I mean...
But he does. Like, that just goes to show you what kind of man Daryl is, too. I mean, it would be so easy for him to be like, you fucked up, man. You're done. You're done. Dead. But he doesn't. Like, he sees... I don't know if I want to say he sees him changing, because I don't know if I'm there yet. I just really don't know.
I don't think he's
like
there
you
yet
said,
either.
He's saying all the right things, He is saying all the right things, but I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I think
more than that, he believes Lydia.
Right.
Which is good.
Right.
And also puts him in a tough spot, because
of the obvious, because of the things we just talked about. Like, oh, he did this to me at the sanctuary, now I'm leading it. Oh, what the hell?
Right.
But, yeah. I mean, the thing that kills me about this whole situation is, like, having to obviously say boo and, like, and everything that he's saying is right, but, I mean, it's mostly, like, a reflection of, like, everything that Negan does is ironically the right thing to do. But the thing that kills me the most about that interaction is that, like, I wish they would have, like, made more of a point of this, is that I think Daryl should feel like he may have dropped the ball in trying to protect Lydia, because I know that there's a part of him in last season that's like, like that like was determined to, in the process of trying to acclimate her, like like a similar shared history about abusive parents, you know, and or an abusive parent, particularly Alpha, namely Alpha rather.
Right.
And like in light of the fact that they're very similarly made up down to the squirrels, right? Or like was it rabbits for Daryl? It could have been whatever. Either way, different. You know, it's a scale thing. You know, Daryl's with rabbits,
wild animals. Yeah.
Yeah. But like you see similarities throughout the episode. Like things that Lydia do in this episode are like almost what we saw Daryl do in the past. Like the only real difference is where they're at in civilization. Like where it was Daryl and it was like no man's land is like, you know, king of the hill kind of rules. Like Daryl could get away with being a complete dick and then come around and whatever. But Lydia in civil society can't catch a break.
Right. Like, right. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Dude, she had, you know, and like here's the thing. Like talk about the right thing to do. Like talk about the wrong thing to do. Lydia having her like teenage outburst. Like with the squirrel moment. Yeah. Was the exact wrong thing to do. That like turned everything up till I think I'm not saying I blame everything that happened to her from that point on her, but like as a result of that, like it just made things so much worse for her. Like she must have felt so good in the moment.
Oh, sure.
But like
I was on her side. I was cheering hell yeah until she went shh. Then I'm like, nope, see, you crossed the line there.
But that
now
was a teenage outburst.
I know, but she wasn't thinking because she wants to be part of these people. She says, "You're my people." You don't do that. You can't cross that line because now you were already on that side of the line and you just got kicked to the end of it because you don't know. I was rooting for her until she did that and I went, nope, you took it too far. One step too far.
But you know what? What I loved about that, like that specific moment, is that is every single fight I had with my sisters. They had no stop. Like I don't know what it was with us. We always had to see. Like I always had a saying, and my wife knows the saying is like never back a Cameo into a corner. Never back a Cameo into the corner because they will scratch your eyes out. They don't care. Like, they will do anything. That's the thing. Like, they will do anything to get out of that corner. And I have a cousin who I know would do anything. Like, anything. And then he'll, like, cry about it later. Like, oh, look what you made me do. Okay, all right. Just relax, buddy. You were the one who decided to do this thing.
Right.
But, yeah, you know. But that's the thing. Like, it's like, I connected with that so much because it's like, I know how satisfying that feels. It's like, oh, it feels so good in the moment to be like, shh. And then, like, have everybody come after you. I mean, like, you know, justifiably, but in that moment, that blissful moment, it's just, I get it so much. Yep. And that, it's authentic. Yeah. It's so authentic.
And Daryl did, too. She even says, you know, they deserved it. He's like, yeah, I know. Yeah, but still can't do it. They did deserve it.
Again, shows growth. Yeah. In the fact that he gives the exact opposite advice that he would not have taken himself back then.
Oh, my gosh. Right?
Ignore them.
She is 100% season 1 and 2 Daryl. Absolutely. But like you said, it's a completely different
climate.
It is. I know, right? So, yeah, they did deserve it, but that's just not how you handle things anymore. We're building a society. We're building a civilization. You got to handle things a little bit differently.
Yeah, a little time and place, right? It's not the right time.
Although they were all sitting down and eating, right?
Yeah.
Was that not okay, so she brought food with her. Not totally inappropriate. Here's my lunch, guys. Plop.
It's time to eat.
Saying our prayers now.
Right. I need to say grace. Hail
we
Alpha,
walk
full
in
of
darkness.
Shit. We walk in darkness. That's right. We are the end of the world.
That's their dinner time prayers.
Oh my gosh. Like, can you imagine that being oh my god. We hate everyone.
I keep looking down at this because I don't want to forget it. It happened so quickly, and I'm certain you caught it too in Sadiq's flashes.
Oh no, you tell me what you caught because I was struggling to find any nuggets.
Okay, I saw
Enid.
one. Yeah, I saw. That was it. That was
Okay.
what I saw. So he's seeing people all around him, and it's sort of coming in and out of focus between being in the barn with the whispers and then reality with the Alexandrians all around, and then all of a sudden we
One
see
image.
Enid.
Right.
We see Enid like this, and she's like getting ready to fight, and it's from Siddiq's point of view.
Yeah.
So it almost seems like he was fighting her.
I'm not prepared for that.
I'm not either, but the point of view is extremely misleading if that's not what's happening. The point of view we saw of Enid is extremely misleading. Now, I don't think Siddiq, my first thought was like, oh my gosh, what if they like pit them against each other and he was the last man standing? But I don't think that's the case.
No,
I don't think that's the case, because there was a lot of people on Pikes that Siddiq would not have been able to overpower, like Tara. She would have kicked his ass. But
wow. Okay.
okay.
Nice call,
How about Alec and Ozzy? I mean,
right. Together,
they're not.
They're a tornado. It's not happening.
Exactly. Like Siddiq's not going to take the two of them out. So I don't think it was a pitting against each other type of situation. But I don't know. That image is stuck in my head because it's him having the flashes. It's her in front of him, facing him, in a fighting position.
Right.
So that's what I keep seeing, and she was the only one that I saw anyway.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate on this one, but because she's the only one I saw too. But there's two things that make me kind of take a step back, and that's because I was kind of like, but like it didn't. First of all, it didn't feel like it. That's not even a factor, but I'll just throw it in there. It didn't feel like that was the case. Like I was trying to make that the case, and I was just kind of like, this doesn't feel like they fought. It doesn't make logical sense to me.
It doesn't, but the point of view is what's throwing me off.
Right, but let me help you with those. One is the visual is very strained, whereas the flashback he had of Alpha was very clear. It was short, brief, but it was very clear on proximity, like how the point of view, who was being spoken to, etc. This flash was not even in full color. It was kind of a transparency kind of flash, which also gives us a sense of scale of space, because Siddiq is against the wall. Everybody's at least like I want to say 15 feet away from him.
Yeah, I mean a good distance, sure.
So, and the flash we saw like was more of a close up on the people. It was a close up of the people as was panning it. Mm-hmm. So, if he would have seen that perspective, she would have been a lot closer than 15 feet in my mind. Do you know what I mean? Like she would have, Enid would be to him. Like she would be at least like 5 feet, maybe 7 feet, like rather than 15, 20 feet. Yeah. You know, so that's what really kind of brings it back. I'm like, oh wait, maybe this is just him, looking at this from a distance, like looking around at everybody trying to put up a good fight or something like that. I don't know.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's too vague. Where his previous flashes were pretty clear, right?
I just thought it was strange that she was the only person we saw.
Well, maybe we're gonna see a little bit of everybody. Like a little flash of everybody. That's sad.
Maybe. I hope we do get a clear idea of what happened. I mean, maybe not the actual scene itself, but a more clear image of what exactly happened. And I mean, it's traumatic. Everything that happened, the PTSD makes sense, but I don't know. I just would like to see exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Or know more. I just want to know more.
I agree. And I think the thing that we need to kind of like take a step back and appreciate is how much more the whispers are fleshed out, but also like whatever we discover about what happened with him that night, not about him, but with him. Whatever they pull out of that hat is going to be so much more than we could have ever gotten from the comic, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that is something to just appreciate on the face of it, and the fact that we will eventually, undoubtedly, well, actually, no, maybe I doubt it. I don't know. Maybe we'll never know. But, like, the fact that we're even thinking that it might there might be more to reveal than is being told is already a win for Angela Kang. Like, already.
Absolutely.
Just like the feeling of tenseness and paranoia that we're feeling about what this episode is essentially about. The episode is called Silence the Whisperers, but the idea of Silence the Whisperers being graffitied everywhere says a lot about the episode. It's not about the Whisperers whispers. It's also a double entendre. It's like you're talking about people whispering, and you see Lydia see this. Because this is like right after Lydia says, like, you people put on these polite faces to Daryl.
Yeah.
But it's just a mask. And she's in the jail, and she's like the only place where she feels safe. Because when things get bad, when you get scared, you pick a target, aim, and shoot. Me, Negan, anything but you. And the fact that Daryl decides to keep her in a safe is like, well, probably what any parent would do. If you feel safer in the cage, I'm not going to pull you out of it. You know?
Right.
And so...
it probably is the safest place for her.
Lydia's peering out into Alexandria. This is before she decides to go into the jail and says, I release Negan, whatever.
Yeah.
She peers out to everybody in Alexandria, sees everybody whispering, and like they're saying things like, I don't know. I'd be scared, etc., etc. That's what the subtitles are saying, right? And I said to myself, I wrote this down, I said, hold on to that scene, because she's looking out towards all of Alexandria. There's no graffiti on the walls just yet, except for their door, right?
Right.
And at the end, when the song comes back on, and Luke is going away, and blah blah blah, and we'll talk about that in just a sec. But it also goes back to Alexandria. Like Carol's looking at a map from the rooftop. Like, and again, this is all geography. Like, why is Carol on the roof instead of with Daryl on the ground? Like, it's showing that people are physically drifting apart from each other, right? I know that's not what anybody wants to hear, but like, there's the truth to it. There's, again, unbreakable bond. But sometimes people are in different spaces, and that's okay. And maybe that's what they need, too, by the way.
Things need to fall apart before they can come back together.
Yeah, and they're not broken. They're not broken.
No.
They're just moving around in their tethered space. They're still tethered, but they just move, and you have to trust that everything's going to be okay. Maybe.
Yep.
It's The Walking Dead. You never know. but
that's
like
true.
The song is playing again. Carol's on the roof watching, and then Daryl's cleaning up the door. Like, again, why would Daryl do that? That's not a Daryl thing to do, and yet he's grown, right? Right? That makes sense to me. Like, oh, I don't care. I'm washing my boots on, and they're gonna
well, I mean,
somewhere.
I took it as him washing it off the door for Lydia. I mean, it bothered her, so he was gonna get rid of that for her.
I just love where he's at, and that's the thing. I want to go back to that whole father figure kind of person, because I predicted that he would be. And I hope that as a result of all this that we see... First of all, I really do think they could have punched that a little bit like harder in this episode. That like maybe he feels like he dropped the ball with Lydia.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they kind of nailed it when she was talking about her dad.
Right.
I mean, he really felt like shit then.
Cassidy McClincy, she said that Norman Reedus improvised the hug in that scene.
Aww.
And that almost broke me. I was like, that is so much. That is so much that they had to keep that in. Because every time she would go through that scene, can you imagine how many takes she had to do this? And she's bawling, crying, and she'd have to leave and come back and do it all over again.
That'd be so hard.
Intense. And then Norman Reedus just like, it gets to a point where Norman Reedus is just like, and that's the take
hug.
They took.
Aww.
But it pays, I guess, to watch Talking Dead. I'm just saying. Which, by the way, remember all the things...
I normally do. I just missed this last one. But normally, that's the only one I've missed.
By the way, and that's what makes me so upset, is that, like, I had not watched it this entire season, like, on time for when we were recording. And then, and as I'm watching all these Talking Deads that I missed, because one of you had said, oh, they said that on Talking Dead. And I'm like... And I did the head cock thing, like, really? Oh, shit. And I realized as I'm watching it, I'm like, okay, they said this thing that I said here. They said this thing I said here. I'm like, motherfucker. And I thought I was, like, I'm having profound thoughts, and I'm like,
I know.
Fuck you, Hardwick. You've had
I
Nicole
do that
Brown.
all the time. I do that all the time. I'll say it out loud, and then they'll say it on the show, and I look at my husband, and I'm like, are they listening to me?
Yeah, I got really... But that's what kills me. Is like, what kills me about that moment is that like I don't want people to think that I'm inauthentic. Like, I thought this all on my own. I did not watch Talking Dead for weeks. It's like, oh my God, they're gonna think I'm talking. They're gonna think I'm like not crediting Talking Dead
Right.
when I'm saying these things, and all it is I just didn't know that they said it.
Right.
Because I'm more than happy, just like I said right now, I'm more than happy to credit Talking Dead with that Cassidy McClincy rare moment, Norman Reedus, etc. Like, I'm more than happy to point out when they say something cool that I'll repeat. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that up front.
No, I'll do the same thing too. If I know something or gather information from Talking Dead, yeah, I'll say, oh, on Talking Dead, da 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 da.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm going back to the whole seeing Lydia seeing the Alexandrians whisper. It's like, oh, I don't know, whatever. You go to the end scene, and then you see kind of a similar shot, but it kind of goes in on the crowd a little bit more. It kind of goes in and around the geography of Alexandria. Yeah. And that's when you see the actual graffiti, because you hear the whispers and see them whispering, looking at her like walking around and stuff. And then you see again, once they pan around, they see all the graffiti. Like, it was all bare, and then right after it's all graffiti. Yeah. And so it's kind of interesting, cool little visual representation of what's going on in Alexandria, and it's frightening. It's absolutely terrifying.
Yeah. Well, who do you think did the graffiti?
That's a good question, because you would easily say that it's Gage. Do you think there's a conspiracy going on? Like, maybe it's just ironically one person, or what?
Well, no, actually, my first thought was Negan, actually, before he took off to wherever he's at.
That's really clever. And that would make sense too, right? Or could it have been Brandon? That makes more sense to me. Causing a schism, an opportunity for Negan to escape, to look at Lydia while he makes his move, right?
Maybe. I don't know, but that also begs the question, who let him out?
Brandon.
Who's Brandon? Brandon. Yes. Brandon. Why would Brandon let him out?
I don't know. Why would Brandon let him? We'll find out next week.
I mean,
well, the thing that makes me say that is the sneak peek.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. See, and I haven't seen the sneak peeks yet. But when Gabe was like, "Oh, I asked Laura and she said she didn't do it, and I believe her," I'd be like, "Why? Why would you believe her?"
She's a savior, goddammit.
She's a savior.
Once a savior, always a savior. But I think that also establishes, like, Gabriel's, like, in spite of all the paranoia, Gabriel still doesn't lose his, and I feel that. I feel like Gabriel doesn't lose his just like Daryl doesn't lose his, I need proof. I'm not going to lose my medal. I'm not going to lose my values over this. Yeah. And he wavers a little bit at the council, like, at that last minute, but.
Yeah. Well, and Laura's one that we could, judge her by her actions. She has proven time and time again that she is an Alexandrian, and, I mean, my first thought was, why would you believe her? But it obviously was a joke.
Right.
She's proved that she's trustworthy.
Both her and DJ at the time, like, the fact that they made it this far in Michonne's inner circle as, like, warriors is a big thing for Michonne.
I really, really want to see how DJ made that flip, because we still do not have answers. The last time we see DJ, he is in that small group
at the bridge camp,
with mud or whatever, and
Picking
he's attacking. And he's attacking Carol.
Yeah, he's not necessarily
in that little group. Not him specifically, but he's in that group of people who charge after Carol. And then all of a sudden,
I don't know.
We go through the time jump, and he's at Hilltop.
Right.
And I'm like, wait a minute, what are you? Whoa! I would like to see. I don't know. Just
yeah,
a little
but you want to see, like, how
DJ,
he went from this to that.
Yeah, like, how did he? What happened there?
Like, he must have proved himself.
Exactly. He had What did he do?
Yeah, because it takes a lot to make it in Michonne's inner circle. Like, she's not like Rick. She doesn't trust blindly.
No.
She doesn't give people the carrot without the stick.
No, you gotta prove it. You gotta prove yourself.
Yeah. So there are two specific schisms that happen with Magna and Yumiko. So the first one is when the tree falls on the Kingdom. Happens to be the Kingdom trailers. Poor Kingdom. It's been through enough.
Right.
But and then Magna has a moment where she goes emptying out the trailers, and then Yumiko just suggests using Maggie's old office and pulling out the mattresses, and it's like, okay, and everybody seems to drift towards Yumiko. Like, whereas when we were calling out the group initially, it seemed as though Magna had more of the reins.
It did.
And then Yumiko was the obvious second in command.
That was how I read it.
Right? And now it's kind of like, okay, we're gonna pretend like we're not listening to you, right? Like, anymore. Like, what are you doing? Goodbye. The second schism is Magna wants to stay and defend the walls, while Yumiko tells everybody to go inside. And everybody's pretty much on board with that going inside part, because they've been at it for a long ass time. Miko.
That was, to me, that I don't know. I saw that more out of spite than strategy. Like,
out of who?
Magna.
Okay.
Being spiteful because Yumiko told her to go inside and everybody followed her in there, and Magna's just like, no, screw you. I'm not going to do what you tell me just simply because you told me to.
Right.
And then Connie's like, let's go.
Now, the big question, right? Like, it's almost obvious what you may think, right? But I'm gonna keep going back and forth because there's no good answer to this question, and that's, do you think that Magna has some point?
No. I think I don't know. I guess I would need a little more information.
I'll give you a little bit more.
If I'm making this solely based on the information that I have, no, because she's upset that everyone is following Yumiko instead of her, or instead of whatever the case may be. And Yumiko's like, no, I take everybody's input and then I weigh it and then I, do the best thing. And Magna's like, no, you don't. You're just going to do whatever you want anyway.
Right.
Which maybe what she was going to do is a better idea. I don't know. I don't know. If Yumiko's ideas are better, then that's what the group should do.
Right.
Right. That's what the group should do. And if Magna's just being spiteful, like, she even knows it's a better idea, but because it wasn't hers, she's just kind of catching a little attitude.
So I'll bring up two things. One is that what we notice in the beginning of the episode is the song, and part of what happens during the song is, as my wife came in, she goes, "Oh, sexy time!" I'm like, yes,
brown cow.
Yes, dear wife, sexy time.
Great time to walk in.
And she's like staring at me like, You like that? I'm like, yes, I happen to.
No.
Look, a little nipple. Anyway,
no.
Whatever. But the whole point is like to kind of illustrate. So there's a part of why this actual scene, like I thought to myself, like, why is this? The scene is kind of significant, and they dwell on it a little bit. But I'm trying to figure out, like, why are we watching this? Why is this scene so long? And then I start to realize myself, it's kind of like, well, it's one thing if you have sexual attraction. It's another, it's one thing if you have the right parts, physically, and things are working, or things look like they have been working for a long time. But when it comes to, like, an actual partnership, and I mean partnership, even if you are the better leader, or you are the better, you have a certain quality that makes you more apt to do this. You don't want to, because the way I see Magna's group, we still call it Magna's group for some reason, is that that's how we came into this, and somewhere along the line, this partnership became unequal, which is why the song is so significant. It kind of sets the stage a little bit, unbeknownst to us, but it's there for later on, about where they are mentally. Like, they're kind of drifting apart. Like, one person is taking more charge, not including the other person. So Magna's just feeling excluded from the process, whereas before she was all seen as a vote. In fact, their whole thing was voting. And now that I think about it, everybody seemed to have a vote. Not a boat. Well, maybe they had a vote. Yeah, it was all. I wasn't saying it was all or nothing, but they had a democratic process. And instead, Yumiko just took control. So
I think certain situations demand it, though. I mean, this was definitely an emergency, and people were hurt, people were injured, dying. They didn't know what was going on, and somebody needed to make a split decision, and she did.
Right. But that's two times. Once, it's like Michonne said, once is a coincidence, twice is an act of God, 3 times, well, I don't know if 3 times it happens.
We should check it out, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the second time, it's not even Yumiko that calls everybody back in. It's Jerry first. Jerry says, okay, we got everybody out of the trailers.
Right.
Come on back in. And then Yumiko's like, all right, yeah, come on.
Right. Well, I think Yumiko is the one who makes the call, though. Like Jerry says, okay, we're good. But then Yumiko is the one who decides, okay, that seems to be enough. Let's go, you know?
Yeah. Which was a little bit confusing because just because you go inside, I mean, there's still all those walkers out there. Why wouldn't it make more sense to, now that these injured people are, in a safe place, now bring all the fighters out and clear this mess.
Right. But then again, like, who knows who's able-bodied enough? In fact, like, I thought about that a little bit too, and it's kind of, I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, some people are trying to help the sick, some people are running around getting people out of the rubble. There's only so many fighters, and they're just dedicating themselves to the cause. Like, and then how do you get people that were helping the sick and pulling people from the rubble to then start fighting the walkers and switch out? It's like, no, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. It's just they don't have the numbers, it looks like. And some people that can fight,
that
maybe.
Could be too.
Yeah, they're like, maybe they can fight. And, like, why would you put them in danger? So.
Yeah.
They're not just cannon fodder. But, no, and I just wanted to bring that up because, I am actually on the same page as you. I think Yumiko is, but then I just thought of another point. Like, Yumiko is the better leader. But, like, I thought of another point, and that was, like, you see, like, hints of this last year when she made a decision without Tara's approval.
Oh, Yumiko?
Yeah. When it came to, what was it? When it came to using the sneak passageway to find, was it Connie or Kelly? No. Luke? Luke. To find Luke and Alden.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. I was thinking of when they showed up, when Magna and Yumiko showed up at the graveyard. They weren't supposed to leave Hilltop then either. And then they showed up at the graveyard to save everybody. 2 times. 2 times. So that's the 2 times they defied the orders. And so who makes the call? It was Yumiko. Yeah.
I believe.
At least one of the times. I'm not sure who made the call at the graveyard. They just sort of showed up.
Yeah.
They were like, we're here.
Yeah, and now keep in mind this one thing. Yumiko at least had the wherewithal to apologize to Tara for doing that. Like, that's true. I know that you gave us big braces, but she did not do that with Magna.
No, she didn't.
So that's interesting, isn't it? Like,
no, she more defended her decision.
Right. Justified her decision. And then, I don't feel like she's wrong, but...
Right, I don't either. And I feel like she has less to prove with Magna. Like, they've been together. Like, she had to prove something to Tara. Like, Tara didn't know who she was. Like, I apologize. Like, you're letting us stay here. But, like, with Magna, she doesn't... I mean, she should apologize. It would just be the nice thing to do. But I don't think she doesn't have as much to prove to Magna.
And I feel like that's what I'm trying to illustrate. It's like that we do that. Mm-hmm. Over time, we lose the ability to kind of give each other the respect that we deserve. You know, because we think that it's inherently baked in, but it's not. It really isn't. Like, over time, it'll wear away. Good,
and it's always good to hear an apology when it's needed.
It's always good to, like, just be considerate to other people's feelings.
Yep.
You know?
Acknowledging that something went wrong.
I'm on the ground floor with that shit. Like 3 years into my marriage, I'm not losing that shit.
Yeah.
No, man. But that's why I wanted to bring it up. You and I are uniquely, like, we're there. We know what that's like. You know? Mm-hmm. Like, when we kind of take somebody for granted, a partnership, people we value, opinions, you know?
Sure.
I mean, we're all on board with Yumiko kind of leading. I get it.
Yeah.
But there's something to be said about how things work in a coupling, you know? Mm-hmm. But I also want to bring this up because it bears some interesting fruit at the end of it. And that's you get a little bit more of their backstory. Mm-hmm. In that she was Yumiko was Magna's lawyer, And we do know that Magna went to prison and had a prison tattoo on her wrist. And we also...
Makes so much sense.
Yeah. And we found out...
It does.
That it, like, which takes us to last year, obviously. And last year, when they were trying to justify their existence to Alexandrians, Kelly mentions she's a high school student, but she also mentions that her sister was also a lawyer or journalist. Damn it. Is a journalist. I wrote lawyer.
Journalist.
Yeah. Now, what if it was kind of the case that that she was writing about Magna's case while Yumiko was defending her? And there's a whole thing that you can draw. And, like, where does Luke fit in all this? Like,
now, Luke, they did say they met Luke along the way.
Right,
Luke is someone they picked up after the end. So
That's
all those pieces could still, all those pieces could still fit together.
Yeah, somehow. Like music.
Yeah.
But who knows? Who knows? But I just, there's something cool about getting all of that, backstory and having that all there. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and we might see more of that, like more of how this affects their relationship and going forward. Because there may be that third time, and that third time, there's no going back.
Right.
Who knows? But again, it does bring it back to the song and where people are at mentally, like an unbreakable bond, but where people drift. Right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which is why I love this song so much, and now it's in my head. Except I hate that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 thing, like at the beginning, at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Like of the song, like it just grades on my nerves, and I don't think it's intentional. But
well, there's something to it too. The short little blurb that I read talked about how there's that how there's that percussive beat behind the melody, and it's very quiet in the beginning, and then it leads up as the emotion grows, and then it kind of goes. It ties in.
It's a crescendo.
But yeah, exactly. But that was, I don't know. I know the counting kind of, I don't know. It didn't feel right.
It makes me a little tense.
Well, it felt like it was added in after. It didn't feel like it was part of the song. It felt like it was added into the episode on top of the music.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you on that one. Okay, I'm just going to say this line, then we're going to go to sneak peeks. But like the fresh set of eyes and a pair of friendly ears.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cute. Okay. Cute. Yeah. Too much. No, it's not too much. I can handle it.
Too cute.
But there's like a big thing that I kind of want to throw out to you and see if you bite. And that is the Whisperers are trying to wear the group down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, why would they even need to do that? And I'll say this much. There's something that we noticed when they came back, that they needed to gather their guardians, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Yeah.
Where's the Horde?
I thought the same thing. As soon as he said we need to go get more guardians, I thought, why?
Right.
Where's the Horde?
Where is it? Right. And I think just like Alexandria and how people's fears are getting away from them, I think that's what the satellite did to the Horde. Like their Horde got away from them. Having that crash, the fire.
But they were out gathering more guardians before that happened.
That's true too. That's right. But
in
spite of their efforts, and it looked like they had a couple of them merging. Like maybe it wasn't as big as that big Horde.
Mm-hmm.
Or big herd, or whatever you want to call it. But the moment they tried to gather everything, when the satellites hit, they went everywhere. Mm-hmm. They didn't give an AF or whatever.
Right.
They didn't just give it. And so I think that the one thing that is obfuscated from the group, our protagonist group, is that they have no idea that they have no control over the herd. They don't have it, and so they have to wear them down psychologically.
Yeah,
it's like a bluff, Like if we wear them down psychologically, make them think that we're more of a threat than we are, it'll make them make rash decisions, and it's working.
Yep.
It's working.
Yes, it is.
I don't think that I've seen one person say this, that like they don't think that the Horde exists. I mean, people I think aren't acknowledging one way or the other. But I think it's a very important thing to remember in terms of the psychology of what's going on, because it feels like what Daryl is kind of saying we don't know that was the Whisperers. And what Eugene was trying to say until he got cut off about the satellite and, we don't know if the fire was them or whatever it was. So, like, voices of reason, if they would have just heard them, we would have led to the conclusion. They would have found out easily, maybe not easily, but like it would have led them down a path of thinking, wait, do they have control over that herd? Maybe they don't.
Yeah.
If they would have just, but it's like Aaron just letting that one thing go. And like all these little other things that people didn't, like Father Gabriel, that dabbing his lip as this fight is about to occur and not doing anything. It's like there's these little things that you can do to prevent things from escalating further. Like do not give an inch. Like Aaron was not ready to give an inch with Negan when it came to like making sure he's strapped down and submitting and like, I'm not letting this go. You are a prisoner. You don't deserve the freedoms that you get. We still have to keep an eye on you. And then like when they see people, well-meaning people, I'm sure, or whatever, like start to go astray and you don't do anything, you don't say anything.
Right.
So it's all these little things, like democracy dies in darkness. The idea is that, without sunlight, if you don't shine a light on things that are wrong, that's when democracy starts to die. When we start absconding with our principles because we're just not sure, that's when democracy dies. Yeah. And so that's kind of the point of that. So we could have stopped this. We could have stopped. We could have. We could have stopped ourselves from jumping off that cliff, Ezekiel. Like there's a little visual element to that kind of behavior. And if Ezekiel would have just said something sooner, said, "I'm not fine, Jerry," then he probably wouldn't have found himself there. And the show,
hard, though.
Yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is. But
it's hard to admit that.
Yeah, but it's just the visual representation of what we could have done to prevent ourselves from getting to the cliff. It's like that. How these are married, like these ideas are married, and I like that. I mean, I like that on a beautiful narrative sense. That's really cool. Obviously not cool that I love Gabe. I love Zeke. I mean, sorry. Zeke. I love Gabe too. Fuck that. I love that we're seeing him make like he has like this stature and this status almost.
Yeah.
And being like.
Rational. I mean, he's coming around on me. I mean, he's got, I don't know, more of a purpose now, I guess. So.
Yeah, I mean.
I don't know. He was too sneaky and weaselly when we first met him, and I just didn't. I didn't like him. I didn't like the character. I didn't like where he was headed. I didn't know what to expect from him. He was unpredictable, and I didn't like it.
Yeah, and hey, if we're gonna give Daryl his due, and it's a quite striking due, that sounded weird. Like, I mean, I guess we have to sort of. I mean, maybe people disagree with me, but like, I guess you kind of have to give Gabriel his due. He's not a timid creature. He's exercising like confident judgment, and people are behind him. People really respect him too.
Yeah.
It's not even like, look, you can think what you want, but you have to look around at people around him. And if people around him are like, yeah, and he looks kind of the part, I mean, we have to kind of believe it. Despite of
also kind of makes me wonder, like, what happened to him in the past 6 years? Like, where did this come from?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, literally, like, almost the last thing we see right before they go into season 9 is that scene in the church being like, you gave me so much. And I can never forget it because we made a little clip of it in that episode. I think it was episode 16. Was it, you gave me so much after you gave me so much? That's what he says. Like, after he's feeling a little bit better and he loses his eye or whatever. But yeah, it's just a moment. It's a moment. He's feeling a moment. It's a mood. That's what I meant. It's a mood.
It's a mood.
Yeah,
I've heard people say that.
As the kids say.
I was just going to say, I see that all over Facebook, and I'm like, I don't know what that means.
I stand Gabe. I stand Gabe. It's a mood.
You stand Gabe. It's a mood.
Stan.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
Which I found out what Stan means.
I'm not up with the lingo.
Oh.
Stan?
Yeah, Stan.
You're saying Stan?
Yeah, not stand.
Oh, see?
No, it's Stan.
What does that mean?
It's a rip off of Eminem's Stan.
Oh, okay, all right.
And how the relationship
that all put it into place for me.
But right?
Yeah.
It's like Stan, who loves Eminem, and so I stan Eminem. It's a whole thing. So there you go.
Gotcha.
Stupid.
I can't believe that's a thing that kids are saying now.
Mm-hmm.
What kids now know who Eminem is, or Stan for that matter?
Well, the thing is, it's an irony because when people were saying it in the beginning, it was like a signal, like, "Oh, you gay? Well, you gay? You homo?" So no, because that's what it felt like when people saw Stan, like fangirling. Well, you get what I mean. For Eminem. It was code in the in hip hop for like, oh, you stand this, like, okay, you're like a homo over this guy, like that kind of thing. No, that's the thing. So what kids are ironically doing today is taking it back. It's like, so what? I stand this person. So it's kind of a cool thing in its own right, but also
wasn't Stan a stalker?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I'm like, we're thinking of the same song, right? Like,
right. But I think it's the idea of like calling him a homo and then like that being a bad thing, but they're taking it back and making it like a positive thing. But either way, one sounds really stupid.
They're taking it back.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, either one doesn't sound very good.
No, not really.
One just sounds really, really dumb. But anyway, so let's go to sneak peeks.
Sneak peeks.
Which thankfully aren't that crazy, but I got all of them. Yeah, so I like this little scene where Negan's splashing his water on his face, having escaped. So it's like season 9 in a way, though. Like, you remember when he drinks from that foul pond and he just throws up a scene later, and he's in the clearing again? This is different. He seems to be okay. And then Brandon finds him and throws him in water, which makes me think, maybe.
That is another little nod to the comics.
Mm-hmm. I think you're going to see a little bit more of that because there's little brief flashes right after that indicate that they face some stuff along the way together.
Well, at this point, when Negan gets out in the comics is when he runs into Alpha.
Right. I don't know.
Which I don't think they'll do. I don't think we're ready for that. We're not ready for that interaction yet.
Maybe. Which is good because you don't really see that in the sneak peeks. But there's a chance that it may happen. But we'll see because going through it, and one of the flashes, is when I saw the Talking Dead sneak peek, one of those flashes or one of those challenges is Negan rushing into a charter bus and saving a woman in the back. A woman is like almost like literally you just see he's almost dead and then like he takes the walker and slams it against the bathroom door in the back. You know how charter buses have that bathroom?
Yeah.
Out of order. Do not go in there.
You do not want to go in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Give about 25, 35 minutes.
Love an Ace Ventura reference.
Right?
Pet detective. Okay, and so another one is Kelly is tracking something in the woods and faces walkers. And then Oscar, whom I spoke of before, played by Anthony Michael Lopez, is like the 4th time I've said his name. Look him up on Instagram, that's all I'm trying to tell you. He relays this info to Connie and said she'd be back at Hilltop but never showed. Spooky. And then given what we know about her in the first episode and how her hearing's kind of is starting to degrade, this could play into something bigger. Now the AMC.com sneak peek. Now in that one flash, it appears as though Daryl's magically at the Hilltop for some reason, and then AMC.com sneak peek assumes that it shows Daryl and Sadiq coming to Hilltop as they're trying to search for Negan. Right?
Okay.
Daryl's on his motorcycle, Sadiq's behind him in horseback, searching for Negan, and then talk to Zeke. King is stuck in the past. Because he's saying things like, what Negan took from us, what we didn't take from him. Okay. And then, but also in that moment, it looks like he's also sick.
Uh-oh.
Because he's coughing.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Doesn't look good. Like, it's not obvious, but there's this, like, one moment where he's like, I'm fine. Yeah. And there's hints of that, like in the last episode. He's just feeling, he's looking shitty.
Maybe Michonne gave him something when they kissed.
Michonne is patient zero. Okay. Yeah, and so Daryl also makes it a point to ask Zeke if he wants to ask about Carol. Daryl says this. Balanced-headed Daryl.
Do you think he's taking a jab though, or do you think he really means it?
Because I think you see the first episode and how Zeke was trying to connect with Carol and he was not succeeding. So I think he was trying to throw him a solid. And think of the difference between his interaction with Zeke in the winter, that one scene near the lake, I think it was.
Oh, right, when he basically tells Daryl, like, dude, you gotta, like, get out of the picture here.
Yeah. Daryl's like, she goes where she wants to, and, like, whatever.
Right?
And now look at him. Daryl's, like, going out of his way to kind of throw him a bone. And I think that's really cool. I think it's really cool.
It could be, but on the flip side, like, I mean, if Zeke needs to, like, get through this and get over it, like, maybe it is best not to talk about her and, like, just kind of move on and don't dwell in the past. Just focus on the next challenge, whatever it is.
But I also think that, and I did think about this, I'm like, why? He doesn't do things for no reason, Daryl. Like, when he does things, he's deliberate. There's because otherwise he wouldn't do things. He's just not a guy that does things. He'll do it for himself. But when it comes to other people, he's deliberate. Yeah. I've noticed. I don't know. But I think he's actually trying to get him and Carol together. I think he's actually trying to get Zeke and Carol together. Because I mean,
at least to talk, right? I mean, if not more.
Yeah, because I think they're grieving, and I think right. You're to your point, yeah, and I think that he's seeing something in Carol, and I think he's not liking that. First of all, that she almost got all of them killed several times, like 2 episodes ago, or last episode, whatever. And if this keeps going and she keeps getting consumed by vengeance, it could happen again, and that's not what she needs. There's an obvious thing that's going on here, and maybe Zeke is the one, because they both went through it, they both lost their son, maybe Zeke is the one to be the one, even if they're not going to be together, to help them, like, talk and heal.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I could see that. Daryl sees the both of them going through the same thing, and you're absolutely right. The two of them, whether or not they stay together as a couple, which, I mean, honestly, I could take it or leave it, but they do need to spend some time together and grieve together, because they have a shared loss.
Or go after Alpha together. Why not? But at least they have a check.
Well,
you know,
grieve first. Grieve, mourn properly. Well, because that's when you get all the crazy emotions out, right? And then once you go through that process, then you can think about things clearly. Okay, I feel better now. What are we going to do about it?
Hey, it's 2 sets of eyes and a friendly pair of ears.
Exactly.
That's all I'm saying. That's all we're saying.
Well, and even when Carol initially, left Ezekiel, that was my first thought, was not yet. Like, this, I mean, I'm sure traumatic things have happened to you in your life. And if I've ever gotten advice after a traumatic event, it's don't make any life-changing decisions right now. Like, don't do anything out of the ordinary, because you are you're doing this out of, emotional reaction, not logic. Not rational thinking. And I think that's what happened with her and Ezekiel. I think she sort of freaked out and said, I just need to get the hell out of here. And she did. And so she did not get to grieve properly. And neither did Ezekiel. He needed that partner. He needed that person to grieve with too, which is why he's going so batshit crazy now. Yeah. They both are.
Yeah.
In different directions, but they're both going crazy.
Yeah, and it makes me think of 2 things. I'll say the first thing now, and that's, it kind of goes back to Lydia making that rash decision in the lunchroom, in the cafeteria, going, shh, with the squirrel. But it also makes me think of another thing, and it's staring me right in the face, and that it's that little portrait of Zeke and Carol. And it's so adorable. Like, they could use a little of that.
Yeah. Look how big his smile is.
Yeah.
He's run out of cheek.
He run out of cheek. His smile so big, he ran out of cheek.
Yeah. She's looking at her ring.
Yeah, exactly. I remember this campfire scene. It's the scene where she said, I'll try it on. Okay. Yeah. Queen sounds
What's it look like?
Good. Yeah. What kind of a cut is this? Is this a pear cut? What's the clarity on this?
I only like the princess cut.
Yeah, princess cut. Yeah. Is this 2 carats? Are you made of metal? I don't know. You're a metal king, right? You're so metal. I love you. Okay.
I do hope that that's what Daryl's doing, though. I mean, he recognizes that the both of them need to grieve properly, and as much as he wants to be that person for Carol, he recognizes that he can't be. He did not go through the same thing that the 2 of them did.
Again, where the icebergs just move apart, and that's okay. It's just what happens.
It is okay.
Yeah.
It is okay.
It's just what happens.
Okay.
Just what happens.
It is.
That's life. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
and it's okay.
Whispers, Alpha showing affection for Gamma. There's a little like thumb on the cheek and going, "You're cute."
Uh-oh.
Right. We're trying to set up a Lydia replacement, possibly. I don't know. But I think that Gamma's going to be the one to have reservations about this. Like, even if Alpha's kind of like, this could work. My replacement. Prodigy. Prodigy? That's what they call them, right?
Yeah. Alpha's probably pretty quick to fill Lydia's place,
Oh, yeah. Depending on how crazy she really is, really.
Well, if she can put somebody into that Lydia position, then... she won't miss her. She won't think about her because she's got that person now. Yeah,
but it's like I don't know if it's an adage, but like people aren't objects. You can try.
No.
But
right.
We're all
it wouldn't work.
We're all uniquely shaped, and so you're trying to fill Gamma with a Lydia-shaped hole.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Square doesn't go into circle.
Yeah, exactly. So there's more. Connie, Daryl, and Dog at it again, seeing remains. Yeah, so they go out on the trail again, seeing remains, and they cut to another scene where Gamma's cutting some guts of a walker out, and Aaron seems to be nearby for some reason. So I don't know what that means.
Are Connie, Daryl, and Dog looking for Kelly?
Yeah, I'm assuming that's the case.
Okay. Yeah.
Because stake skin in the game. Alpha, and see now Alpha's doing this thing. She's giving a switchblade to like one of those shaving razors that you can open, like a barber's,
like a straight
old
blade?
time. Straight razor, right?
The straight blade.
Did I say that right? I don't know. Anyway. Yeah. But it's a voiceover, so she's saying these words with a voiceover as she hands the straight razor to Beta, right?
Okay.
And she says, "Patience. Shifts and strategies take time." So we don't know who she's saying this to, but it's as she's handing him the straight razor, and and then you actually see her say, "The border, it will crush them." Yeah. So the border. Now it looked like she was saying the water, but like it's that stupid accent, right? But the border, it will crush them. So I think what they're trying to do is the very act of them changing the borders on them is enough to set them over the edge. This is what's going to cause them to go crazy. She knew what she was doing I think she underestimated the effect it would have on them, though. I really do.
Yeah, she knew it would push them, but not quite this far.
And not so quickly. Yeah.
Well, and they've mentioned several times that she's taken over the hunting grounds.
Right.
So what are they doing in the meantime?
Well, I mean, Lydia is clearly okay, and that's another thing too.
Right?
She's getting the squirrels, right? And
right.
So, which could be kind of like an extra fuck you, like, oh, I'm okay. You guys, oh, you like your tomatoes there? Oh,
yeah.
Delicious.
Are you hungry?
Yeah. You trying to be vegan? Oh yeah. Oh, I bet you love some squirrel steak. Squirrel jerky is good this time of year. Anyway, so shh. I'm trying to shh your tummy. It's making some noises.
I can tell you're hungry.
Oh, somebody need a Snickers? All of you need a Snickers? It's not made of meat.
You turn into Alpha when you're hungry. Here,
Ah.
eat this.
Nice. Well done. Just like this, and you're escalating it. It's great. But yeah. I think she really underestimated how quickly they would start to feel the pain.
Yeah.
Like a little bit of pressure. And it could backfire. Who knows? Ugh.
There was one more thing I noted that we didn't talk about, and we don't need to spend a lot of time on it. The Order of Blatodia.
The Blatodia, yes, I did write all that down.
And then Luke with the quick whip. Oh yes, the family of cockroaches.
and then Eugene's face after was like, wait, hold, I'm not alone.
Wait,
I'm not
what?
I'm not alone in the universe.
I'm not the only nerd here? Yeah. Yes. The look on his face. Now, I'm not even going to lie. I totally had to Google what that was. I had no idea what. And I'm like, what? Yeah. No clue. But yeah.
But you Wikipedia'd it,
It is,
right?
in fact, an order of insect that includes cockroaches and termites.
Yeah.
Yep.
And lo and behold, after I write all the notes down and I'm starting to watch Talking Dead, motherfucking Chris Hardwick. Chris Hardwick pulled that out of his ass. But
really?
You know what he didn't pull out? What's the significance of termites and cockroaches? Okay? Termites have
They survive everything.
That, first of all, that's great right off the bat, because they do, right?
Yeah.
And they all do it in different ways, but more than anything, termites and cockroaches. Termites have a castle system, so they have an order. They have the idea of colony. They're a social order, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cockroaches are pre-social. So they've already been through their socialization process, and now they've kind of mutated, and so they don't have to be in colonies. They can be in colonies, they can exist in colonies, but they don't need it. Termites have a king and queen with sterile soldiers, right?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Which is different.
Mm-hmm.
But cockroaches are independently, like, once they reach adulthood, they can breed on their own without a king and queen. Because I think the cockroaches are more our group. They're independent. They can have kids whenever they want.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need a king and queen. And then you have the termites, their order, there's sterile, whatever. It's freedom versus not freedom. Versus monarchy. So I thought that was kind of a cool little fun fact to kind of... Because the order is like, you remember family, genus, species, like that. Remember that whole thing?
Yeah.
So order.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's the whole thing. The scientific chart of something, classifications or something.
Yeah. Again, though, like these are those little details about this show that, like, I mean, just this one little funny one-liner, right? But when you start to dig deeper into what that means and what they're talking, like, even this funny little one-liner has such relevance to what's going on. Like, I love this show. I mean, the details that they... Seriously, I have never watched another show like this. Like I said, I'll watch any show. You put on a show, I'll watch it for 10 minutes, and I will tell you how it's going to end.
Yeah.
Guaranteed every time.
Well, they give meaning to everything. It's crazy.
This show is not like that. I mean, surprises every single week, details in everything. I mean, you have any other show and they just sort of slap a sappy song over top that really doesn't, like the chorus of the song maybe has relevance, but then when you start to hear what the song's about, you're like, that's really not, I know that song and that doesn't pertain, that doesn't apply here.
Or like the song says, I'm sad. This is a sad song, obvious.
Yeah, or two on the nose.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That there's so much more thought that goes into everything on this show.
Right.
And I appreciate that so much.
Right.
So.
What that song allowed us to do once we opened up with it allowed us to keep going back to it as kind of a mantra, like where we see it happen over and over again. And I think it's actually trying to tell us what to pay attention to throughout the season. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's the obvious conflict and paranoia and all that stuff, but there's like, wait.
Yeah.
The song is trying to tell you something. The song is trying to say, keep your eye on this ball. Because as shit starts to go down, just watch how relationships that are strong start to kind of like glaciers, like ships in the night, they're like moving apart,
But more importantly, don't forget
the bond.
Like just because this is happening doesn't mean that there's any less love or
Right.
that they care any less for each other
It just
in
needs
any
to
circumstance. I don't mean just Carol and Daryl, like all of these Carol and Ezekiel, or what was the other one? Oh, Sadiq and Rosita. I mean, there's they're not together, but there is still this level of love and care.
Yep. Because that Gabriel with Coco in the beginning, right? Was that it? Gabriel was dating Coco? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which
and
we finally see Gabe being a father.
Sees it happening. Right? That was kind of nice to see. Yeah.
Finally,
I'm like, oh, look at that. He does pay attention to the kid.
Yeah.
And Rosita took a time out from kickboxing to take the kid for a walk. So that was nice.
Yeah. Yeah. And who was the last person that we did not mention that is the most on the nose out of all these people, is Luke at the end as they're playing the song.
Oh, at the very, very end.
Yeah. Well, how he's seeing Jules in Oceanside. Do you know why that's significant? And it's on the nose, like way on the news, because this group has been through everything, and they do it all together. And like I said about Yumiko and Magna, they used to vote on everything together. Mm-hmm. And now even that, maybe that's the natural order of things, and maybe that's okay, and maybe we'll always have a bond, but maybe voting's off the table. But also, the most on-the-nose thing is Luke wants to say goodbye.
Yeah.
And pursue this thing that he needs to pursue, and that's okay.
It is okay. Did that feel extra heavy to you? Like, as I'm watching him, like, wave goodbye to everybody, and, all of a sudden I'm like, oh, why do I feel like we're not going to see him again? A
lot of people have said that. But I you know what?
It was heavy.
I agree with you. I do agree with you. Like, after finally going through this episode with you, I actually don't agree that, because people are saying we might lose Luke in the next episode.
Oh, no, I don't.
Whatever.
I don't think that's going to happen.
That's
but
what people are feeling.
It felt really heavy. It felt like a goodbye to Luke.
Right. But I think that you could say that and it makes sense, but I also think it's a good idea to kind of take a step back and realize, they've been through all this for how many years? 7, 8 years? 9 years. And now they're finally taking steps to be apart, which is something they're not used to, but something that Luke is naturally eager to do without malice. It's just the thing that we have to do. And as a people, to grow, we have to just trust our gut and let ourselves drift like icebergs away from each other.
Yep. And
so that was, again, on the nose, but if you don't see the other things, you just don't notice it without the song. Okay. So I just like that. And with that, everybody, we're going to call this one a night. And if you like what you heard, just leave us a like and a comment. And let us know what we could be doing, what we might have missed. And if that's even possible, please, try. But come on. Don't
hard.
Exaggerate. Yeah, and leave a rating in Apple, in the iTunes, podcasts, and Stitcher. Yeah, leave a review. That would really, really help us out. We'll see you in the next episode.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully with more people. So with that, good night.
Bye.